And we're live, finally. A little
Yes.
delayed. A bit of a weird situation going on around these parts. So, we're live. We still have to keep an eye on things. Some suspicious activity going on around here.
Yeah.
So much fun living in the state of the world that we live in, right? Um, so, yeah, we're live. Hello, and living in the state of the world that we live in. Volume's good. And welcome. We're going to go over Fort Zachary Taylor, our personal boots on the ground experience, where a year ago, March, so yeah, like a year ago, we went on a family trip and we were able to go to, I say Key West, Florida, or Florida, Key West, one of the things on the bucket list. So excited that we got to go. I'm looking over the footage again and I just miss it already. It is so beautiful, so cool, aside from the fort being really, really interesting. The whole atmosphere down there, environment, the flow of people, even though like 90% of it's tourism. There's a naval base down there. Fort Zachary Taylor would be considered a star fort. And not too far away from that, I believe it's 80 miles as the boat can travel, or the crow flies more so, is Fort Jefferson in Dry Tortuga. 16 billion bricks. We didn't get a chance to go to that one because it's by land or no, it's by air or by sea, and it's a lot of money. So we got to walk around Fort Zachary Taylor for $5. I think it was just to pay for your parking your car. Otherwise, you got in if you were walking or bicycling or came around the other outer end on a kayak or something. Yeah, it's $5 for parking, which is very much like Fort DeSoto, which is a lot closer to us, which is also appear to be a star fort, or what's left of it, which is near Egmont Key, which has appear to be fort remnants and a lighthouse on it that we've talked about just a little bit. But anyways, we were able to go to Key West and walk around. I keep mixing the names up. Fort Zachary Taylor, as I just call it, Fort Taylor. And we're going to share our footage. We're going to talk about our experience. We don't plan on being live for very long. I just want to keep with the flow of me more so, because I'm not tech savvy, of doing the live stream and sharing stuff, because even the last few times I keep forgetting the share screen step-by-step layout of this, that, and the other thing. So we're gonna roll the intro and be right back.
Absolutely. And we got some new intros, so hope you enjoy it.
Waiting.
And we are
Waiting.
back. I
There it
know.
goes.
It's like
All right.
waiting.
All right. Welcome. So the intro included a lot. 99% of the intro was oops, um, Key West, Florida.
Fort Taylor.
Fort Taylor. I'm going to call it Jefferson because I know it's the opposite of what I'm talking about, and that's how my brain works. So we're going to jump right into it. Again, I got to walk through the share screen. I'm not worried about audio when I share video because it gets wonky sometimes, anyways. So here's a lot of pictures. Just literally gonna walk through because there is a swimming area 5 minutes from the Star Fort. And literally even that 5 minutes, the parking lot, and maybe seven, because there's a lot of trees and trails. It was like hiking to get to the beach. It doesn't seem like it. It's like totally separate. So does that look grainy?
No,
Not too bad. I don't
that
know if it's
looks
just a
good.
picture. So Fort Zachary Taylor Historic State Park. I'm from, excuse me, coffee. I'm from Michigan, and there's state parks. I believe the only like one that I can think of in Michigan is Mackinac. Is it Mackinac? Pretty sure they call it. There's Mackinac, and then there's Mackinac, and there's a bunch of other funny, peculiar names. But it's near the bridge. Oh, it was $6. My bad. $6 for parking.
$6. So if you want to know, it's $6.
And they have a display of the cannonball sitting there. And of course, like any kid, you're just gonna walk up and try and pick them up, right? Like they're fake. It's just they're all glued together. Even if I don't even know if they're real, but you know the kids goof off. The video's funnier, but we'll get to that. I'm gonna get through these pictures first because sometimes video and picture don't always have the same thing that adds up. But so this would be we call it a courtyard. Is
Yeah.
there any other verbiage like a courtyard?
No, that's pretty much what they all called it while we were there. So
Well, it's the inner part, grass or no grass sometimes, of the courtyard. Um, the cool thing about this area is no matter where you're standing, but I happen to be standing right here where this marker is, where person is, and I was recording this wall over here. And I turned around, well, it didn't really matter which way I was facing. So I was standing here, and there was a family along the wall sidewalk over here, and they were walking out, which is this way to my right. And one of the younger children started to whine. And I heard this. I know whining's not beautiful, but I heard this beautiful um, harmonized echo, like carried through the whole vicinity, the whole structure. I was like, that all the way over here. I'll show you different areas like that was so interesting. I barely caught it on my phone. You can't really hear it. I've listened to the recording a few times. It does nothing compared to actually standing anywhere here and hearing this, because a whine a loud sound that kind of rings out like singing in a pitch. So it picked up the tone and carried it through, I'll just call it the hallways and the openings. It was really interesting with these pictures because of what's in the opening window. Does it look like a window? how thick this is of bricks, and that's half a moat. I don't know if a moat has to be all the way around. You don't want to swim in that. It's really green. That means there's a lot of slime,
Lots of
algae,
algae.
maybe, irritate the crap out of your skin. So a year ago, March, literally, not to the week, but a year ago in March, we were able to go to Fort Zachary Taylor while we were in Key West, and I was still very new. I say a few months in, very very new to this like research topic community. I would say at the time, call it Tartaria and mega structures that we don't build the stuff like we used to. Clearly, um, so I'm trying to take it all in and look at everything that I could possibly think of with open eyes because I know I would have walked around this place and maybe picked up on the fact that it's like an echo acoustic sound, like um, listening to Elsa in Frozen 2, listening to, I think it was the echoing voice of her mom calling to her and going on that journey. But other than that, I was like, wow, this is a really cool structure. It's a fort for military purposes, and I would have made it very less interesting than it was. So I was trying to dissect this place as much as possible with being very new to thinking about the bricks and how many bricks and the thickness in the opening of just even this, I'm going to call it a window, and where it's positioned and the shape that it's in. And I mean, just everything and where it's placed. Because even,
Placement is, yeah.
yeah, I mean, the placement of the bricks, the placement of the hallways, the placement of the arch vaulted, is that vaulted? Just arched. Um, Ceiling that holds the second floor up. Because it's the layered bricks, not just the thickness of building like really thick walls, because apparently it's military purpose, military grade. We'll call it military grade. And I don't know if that was just a little clearer. I was very very thorough. I killed my camera battery while recording everything I could possibly um, get out of it and look at it later. And I still, a year later, feel like um, I don't understand the structure of it. There's a lot of theories, which is really cool to expand off of. But being there, our personally ourselves, being to two actually, Fort DeSoto and Fort Zachary Taylor, the acoustic sounds, the music that you could sing even if you're tone deaf. I'm like, I swear this made everything like beautiful sounding. So the the stuff sitting around to make it look military grade is questionable, very questionable, because you can't whisper in most of these places and around a corner. Your voice carries. So if you're trying to be like military grade, it's supposed to be more soundproof so that you are giving away your position, even in a structure like this. Plus, I can only imagine if a cannon hit a wall, that sound blast effect would just ring everybody's head. They would easily get overtaken.
Well, not even that, but like you said, if you start talking, I wonder how much could be heard outside the walls. Like if there's that many military personnel in there, like you said, and they're all talking about what they're doing and where they're going. And everyone outside's like, "Oh, great! Thanks for letting us know what you're doing and where you're
They're
going." It is
they're
that
talking about
loud. It really is.
they're talking about where the gunpowder is stored. So where do we drop off the next load? Over there and blah blah blah. And then yeah, from the outside. So they do offer tours. I would say they take a lot longer to get through if you're not a very patient person walking around with maybe up to 20 other people and one person pointing at something and you got a class of people basically staring at the one thing and you're looking at it and then he moves on to the next thing and you take your turn to look at it. So we just walked around this place ourselves and it is a park ranger that gives the tour. If you watched any videos on Fort Jefferson, out there, just 80 miles is the bird flies, I think. There's most of the videos that talk about Fort Jefferson are a walking tour guide with the park ranger, and it is scripted, and you can tell it's not just scripted, but when you get used to the story narrative lines, like they are just like when you can see things for like what it's not as they share their story. There's so many questions that I know they can't answer. And so I'm just like a really bad student that way. I just question things and I get no answers. And then they're like, can you just not talk? Can you just go stand over there? And I'm like, can you actually get your story straight? Because it's only going to make them question things too. Because they're like, put some little seeds of doubt in your story, your narrative there. Especially when you walk through this hallway. I'm sorry, I don't know what else to call it. I'm not military grade. I don't know all the terminology to even call it military grade. These cannons are are really there. We leaned against them. We looked at them. We even lined them up with the opening in the windows. These cannons are, I want to say, a depiction. There's no way. There's just no way. But the floor, I'm just gonna want to look at the pictures as the video footage will probably swing around a lot. Because even in my own recording, I am like, look at this, look at that. What about this? That doesn't make sense. What's going on there? This opening right here, there's several of them on some of these. If you look down, and it's kind of creepy, they're full of water. And it doesn't say, how deep they go. You can't really tell because it reflects the water with all the sunlight. Actually reflects the roof of the inside of the opening right here. So I know in Fort Jefferson they talk about the rain collection for fresh drinking water and possibly holding the turtles a food source in some water reservoir type of situation because obviously I didn't take the tour, so I don't know what the story here is, but I can only imagine since this place was built before the original bridge was a train track, but the details in the arch pillars, the ceiling, like these are curved. These each one is like not just where I want to call them the pillars. I'm gonna dance with my hands here. Dance. Everything is arched and connected into another arch, going left, right, north. Okay, not left, right, because they don't have any other direction. Going north and south, east and west, north and south, east and west. Like it constantly. And the hallway isn't arched. This is actually straight, as you can tell. But to say like the architectural like engineering of building something like this is actually very similar to tunnels.
Well, you know the interesting thing that I just thought of when it comes to this, if you take uh a 90-degree angle, right? It basically makes a square, if you take those 90-degree angles. Now, in the corner of that square, if you're a welder, right, you would weld the corners, to keep it sound. But it would have, that little bead, I would call it, in the corner, to secure the welding. The same things kind of looks like it's been done in here with the bricks, where it would be a 90-degree angle, but they're arched and it looks like they're, like you said, JJ, they're twisting, but it's like a bead, but with bricks. Yeah, the construction is just amazing in some of the other pictures that you
And
have.
they're like massively thick. Like this is remnants of what we're able to see and walk through. And this is the older part of it because they do a newer part. You can just tell in the quality and mixture. There's difference in the bricks of what looks time difference wise of just how it was made or what it was made out of, not how it was made. But even just look how thick this like pillar column area is, and then they have the pattern of turning the bricks. I forget what that's called, but it's like one, two, three, four, five to six bricks across, and that's just like one, two, three, four, five, six, and that's not even. This is like half the hallway. And then you got this is the exterior wall over here, and the arch, and then the ceiling that is the floor to walk around up top. This was the firing sea firing the seacoast cannon. Right. Yeah, this is so believable. Let's see. It numbers it. Is that on a different display? One, two, three, four, five. I haven't looked at all of these in a while. So, when Fort Taylor was active during the Civil War, the post had 140 cannons on three tiers. Tire tiers, right? Tiers?
Yeah.
Three tiers. You're more military minded, like ready to fire at any threat that might sail into Key West. Lost my spot. Harbor. Dyslexia with the fluttering eyes. Because that's why I had a problem up here going. Because the word is very similar to tires. So my brain and my eyes have like a disco dance, basically. The fort was armed with 8-inch columbads. What is? I've never seen BIAD. Column
Columbiad.
biad.
Columbiad.
What is it?
Eight
Column biatch.
inch.
10-inch column. So we got 8-inch, we got 10-inch, and 10-inch Rodman. Who's Rodman? Dennis Rodman. All smooth bore cannon. The third tier of the fort also had. Oh, okay. Brain glitch. So tier is level, like the second level, the third level. Is that what it's referring to? See, without an actual picture diagram, and I'm not very military minded, with the verbiage of going. So tiers is because they're saying the third tier of the fort because there's only 2 stories. So I call it stories levels. We're on the first ground level and then second level. And I look at the elevators. There's no elevator here, but I think that's what it's referring to. Because I get the story mixed up with Fort Jefferson to say that there was supposed to be another level upward or not. So the third tier of the fort also had 100-pounder Parrott rifles. Doesn't it seem like they would be heavier? Are those the ones that we saw at Fort DeSoto?
The the Columbiads are the cannons themselves.
Oh, that's Columbiads.
Yeah,
Column.
Columbiads.
Columbiads. I've never heard that. Aside from reading it like a year ago, but like to gravitate towards
It's
sometimes relearning stuff. There's nothing
it's
wrong with relearning it.
it's easier to just say it's a muzzle loading cannon. You don't got to be fancy about it. Like, come on.
Sorry, no, it's an assault cannon.
It's
Um,
it's an assault cannon.
in each of the 4 pieces,
Oh my
flanking
god.
of guns, assaults of smaller cavalier cab caliber.
That's
Oh my god, that made me. I thought of myself a little too funny right there. I'm having like a warm flash. I gotta fan myself off. You know. Let's see. Guns of smaller caliber. Caliber. Oh my
caliber.
god. I drank my coffee. I swear. We're
Are you
installed. Caliber. I have heard the word, but apparently I've never seen the word in print, and it makes me go, what the hell am I looking at? Push through, even if you have those learning difficulties. Don't let them stop you. 99% of people have learning difficulties as an adult, especially our generation, older millennials/Gen Xers, between ADHD, dyslexia. Reading out loud is one of the biggest struggles. So sorry for anybody having to
Yes,
push
Edna
cotton in their
Bell.
ears.
Yes, Edna Bell, and hi. Thanks for being here. Yes, they do make things as confusing as possible on purpose. I swear.
That too, with the narrative, I'm like caliber. Maybe
Drew
if I,
Duncan. Hi, Drew Duncan. Good to see you again.
he's been working hard on his channel too, and I like saw the lighthouse information he's been working on. Um,
He said, "I'm assaulted by that cannon."
that was a loud laugh.
Oh man,
Well, the majority of the cannons were set up on the
that's funny.
western facing of the fort. Western facing of the fort. We're going to get to the second level. We'll talk about what you can see. Obviously, I'll just say right now, the third level was necessary, where battery something or other now stands. Adar. This sounds like a pirate when you talk. Yar, a sea coast cannon crew is compressed of 7 men. Is that awful? 6 cannoneers and a commander. Who wants to be the commander? Who wants to be commander? Because you don't have to lift the heavy shit, right? Known as the chief of the
Peace.
Pies.
Peace. Yeah.
That's not how you spell peace.
The commander is the chief of peace by
But that's not how you
obliterating
spell
his
peace.
enemy with cannon fodder.
Okay, that is the art of the word, right? How do you accomplish peace?
Jeez.
Everybody dies.
By the
Or
use of cannon fodder.
That's not how you spell peace.
Oh my
Why would
gosh. I'm the chief of peace.
P-E... Wait,
That's freaking hilarious.
That's not how you spell peace, is it?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Well, if there was an R in there, it would be Pierce.
Be price.
It depends on where you put the R.
Oh my god, I hate. That's another thing. I hate the English language.
Oh,
That
jeez.
that messes everything up. That's not how you spell peace. Like world peace. That's not how you spell peace. Peace.
No, that's
Pea. That's why. That's what messes me up. I
well.
hate the English language.
Well, this is a different piece.
Anyway, peace, peace. Like
they're giving you a piece of shrapnel that's blown.
the chief of peace. It's a different kind of peace. Like when you
Oh
say
my
chief of
jeez.
like peace, I'm thinking like world peace. Anyways,
So
so there,
if anyone hasn't figured out yet,
we're
we
kind of,
enjoy our research like thoroughly.
we question everything along with thinking that I never have anything figured out, but I want to sound a little more together than I do, and then it all falls apart. It's a good time. Look how thick that wall is. Let's change the subject because I changed the picture. This is like an actual window. This isn't nowhere near as messed up as those other opening windows were. And it's so like neat and pretty. Oh, so pretty. It's so pretty, and I still can't remember that song without listening to it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think there's a 9 in there. It's just kind of off angled. So that is wide and it's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty. Lots of green with a little. This is like fall. You actually do see fall colors in March, January, February, March. It's like fall down here in Florida. All right, we are on the roof, technically, the second story on this side. There is a partial third story. I think I guess I have more video of that. But there's the if there was a cannon
Yeah.
here, that's fire ho 3 miles apparently. Look how wide this is. Very very wide. This ledge, I could easily like I'm 5'9". I could lay across this and probably still stretch my arm out. Could easily lay across this. Maybe not stretch my arm out. But here's some platforms. This is technically the second floor if they had built or decommissioned their third floor. As they kind of talk about with some of these starforts of what it might have looked like, what it could have looked like. And I don't understand the I guess that just gives it more integrity to not fall apart. It looks like paper mache. But yeah, apparently was it 140 cannons they said. And this is
Um,
not the original like walking platform. These are actually very loose. You step on a corner like they rock. It's like a rubber-ish type of square mat, but not the cheap kind for preschool classrooms. Because I started walking up here, and one of them moved where I felt like I was gonna fall through. Like it moved a lot, so it was very uncomfortable walking across here. To say, obviously, they've made some updates and hey, look, enemy on the front line! Blast the cannons! Ho!
Hoist the colors.
Place the colors. They'll never get past our moat. Yeah.
Oh,
Do
look,
not
there's two
climb.
more scallywags.
Do not climb because you might fall. Mm-mm.
Okay, so I'm gonna read a little narrative. You can do pictures.
Okay.
This is off the website. It says By the time the three-story fort was finally finished in 1866, 21 years after the process begun, apparently, there were many impressive features included. Items such as sanitary facilities flushed by the tide and a desolate plant, okay, which produced drinking water from the sea, were available as early as 1861.
What? Drinking water
Yes,
from the
drinking
seas?
water from
Okay,
the sea were
hold up.
available as early as
While
1861.
we were there, we went swimming on the beach. The beach is actually on the other side of the parking lot. These trees, there's a parking lot and a few more trees. This is by far, I can talk, by far the saltiest water ever. Not only are the buoyancy when it's saltier, but we live in the Gulf side of Florida. And the Atlantic side, we also put our feet in. I was saying this is like where I guess Atlantic and the Gulf kind of meet. The Gulf waters up, we're in Manatee County, so we were like Annabelle Island into the Tampa Bay. Nowhere near as salty or as buoyant as swimming on the beach that's next to this Fort Zachary Taylor. Because it gets in your mouth and it burns your eyes and it's like tubey, 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 tubey. And plus, you're just really, really buoyant and swimming around and stuff. This water is so unbelievably salty. Like, comparing different areas of salt water, this water right here, I don't know how they were able to do that back in the day
In
by
1861.
saying we can't even do that now. Like California's been bitching about it for over 30 years.
Well, according to, the narrative, what a seawater desalination is how we remove salt and impurities from seawater to produce drinking water,
Yeah,
and
they say
our
it's
desalination
so
plants use
expensive.
a reverse osmosis process,
Nope.
and the
Mm-mm.
seawater is pumped into the desalination plant
Mm-mm.
from the ocean through a pre-treatment filtration to remove the particles. And they could do this all the way back in 1850s, 60s, apparently.
The size of
Mm,
this facility would be the desalination. That's a funny word.
I know,
Of
right?
making drinking water from the seawater.
Desalination.
I had a reverse osmosis system, and we lived in my great grandma's old house, and we had to get a reverse osmosis system because of the city water. And
I know, and the Bell's just shrugging her shoulders like, what the frick? I know,
if
right?
they could have
It
done,
just,
if they were doing this back then with no electricity, we're trying to do it with electricity. I'm like, the best thing you can do is boil the water in a distillery, and you can do that with a tea kettle type thing. Now it's going to build up the salt residue as you need a new tea kettle after probably a week, or a bigger tea kettle, or just after a while. You have to clean it out, and then, there's a process with that. But that is not even the same process as desalination to say it was filtered through a reverse osmosis system, because those are filters. It's a filter system. And steam distilled is with fire, which just
yeah.
the issue we were having around here. I'm just like,
So,
no.
okay. So, kind of moving on
Yeah, go ahead.
yes, a little bit. Okay, so items such as sanitary facilities and the desalination plant, now we know what that is, apparently,
Malarkey.
were available as early as 1861. A total of 140 guns and a large supply of ammunition were also on hand. In the years that followed, Fort Taylor was again used during the Spanish American War. In 1889, in an effort to modernize the fortress, the top levels were cut down to install new weapons. So they got rid of the whole third floor
Was it a
to
laser beam?
install newer weapons.
They were using dragons. That was their new weapon. See that guy right there? Iguana was their new weapon. The laser beam iguana.
I,
Check out that arch.
we're gonna tear down an entire story for
Because they
and
flew
and
in
and,
on
and
helicopters.
they don't even say what the supposed new weapon is, right?
Oh,
They
no.
just say,
Oh, there's another
"Oh, a new
face.
weapon."
Do you see the face? Is that a face? Is that not a face? Doesn't that look like a face? Like there's two lizards. Oh, that is two lizards. He blends in with that brick
Yes, it
really well.
is.
Oh, dude. I'm more distracted. Forget the squirrel. Lizard. There's two faces right there.
That's funny.
I'm standing there looking at a fort of wonders. That's funny. The cave of
So,
wonders. The fort of
I
wonders.
there's just a little bit left. So apparently, Fort Taylor, the park, covers now 54 acres, is a National Historic Landmark. Construction began in 1850 and was named after the U.S. President Zach Taylor, who died in office earlier that year. And of course, throughout the 1850s, construction on Fort Taylor was slow. Why? Yellow fever.
Yeah.
That you
We
know
hear
that
about
that
that.
that is a big thing apparently in Florida that is
Blame
written
the
in the narrative.
mosquitoes.
It's heavy and so much narratives down here in Florida we're finding. So I'm not sure if, other researchers are finding yellow fever is a huge narrative depending on where they're looking, but it's a big one down here apparently.
Can you look up really quick? So I want to see the year difference of when they were building Taylor and Jefferson. Because Jefferson is like 80 miles into the sea, technically, and it's hard to get to. And that has like 16 million, with an M, million bricks. You look at the thickness of this structure and the intricacy, I can say it, of that's an opening like breezeway. We just have to have breezes, little opening wedges everywhere. It's just a breeze. With
Okay, Fort Jefferson is the largest brick masonry structure in America. It has over 16 million bricks, and it was built in 1847. So it was built before Taylor.
yeah, but how long did it take? Do they say that? They always say like, depending on where it's located. I guess they work the narrative. I think that one took 20 years, give or take. There was a break in
Uh,
between.
1846 to 1875.
Pretty long time. Understandable since it's
Yeah,
like
that's
an
over
island in the middle
30.
of nowhere. But even when they were building Fort Taylor, there wasn't a bridge.
So they were overlapping. If Fort Taylor was starting to go up in 1850, this was being built, started building 2 3 years before that. Where the hell did they get all the manpower to build this thing of 16 million bricks and build Fort Taylor at the same time?
And
When
they're
the
80 miles apart.
when the population back then was maybe 500 people per city.
I mean, that's in Florida. We said that even in Tampa around that time, there wasn't even like
There
700 people.
there's there's just no flipping way.
Oh, let's learn about feeding the soldiers because apparently they're the ones that built it. I can't read that. But the supply and demand of just even keeping your crew of builders or soldiers, whatever you want to call them, drinking water and food, um, maybe I just lost my train of thought. Moving on. Are they telling me like here we have all your utensils because that's what they have. Whatever took place in the Civil War has such a generalized like. I get the flying saucer pan and maybe the tea kettle per 100 crew soldiers. You get maybe a cup. Maybe I don't even think you get a cup. I mean, you know how many do they share these per every 5 to 10 soldier? I mean, like
Can you zoom in on the?
the
Because
this thing
it's
doesn't
crystal clear. Well, no,
on your
not
end.
that, but the. Yeah, it looks really good over here.
You can read the paragraph.
Oh well, I don't think that.
Okay, how about can you see the picture better?
I don't know how far you could zoom in. Yep, that's grainy. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's wow.
I know.
Sorry about that, everybody. You know
You
what?
challenged me.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, you really can't read that
Yeah.
very good. We'd have to probably
I don't
check
want to
that out
look
a
up every
little
nook and
later.
cranny. It's kind of an overall of just we were there walking around, and when you're
There is
there,
so much
boots
here.
on the ground, walking around, and you hear the narrative, the story, and then you have more open mind of going, that doesn't add up. Your
Yeah,
senses are working, and you're thinking, going, this could have been this. You're given information because, like I said before we got here, I'm like 3 months into looking into this stuff, just barely hearing about star forts in general. So, and then being called a military fortress, being called star forts, military, a fortress. What was the other purpose? And I'm like sitting here going like, we got to walk around one and see what we see without knowing too much, but do know to think of it like outside that control box. This just says it was a registered National Historic Landmark in 1973. Okay. A lot of these, they're just little display areas to give you the visual, the simple visual walkthrough of. See, we had what they call wheelbarrow type doll carts. We had the wheel, so we could do a lot. That's backwards, and they look excited. It is hot, even in March. It was hot. Um, yeah. So
um,
this is definitely compromised. Um, they had a lot of different cannons everywhere, just as a display. You could poke your head through an opening, and they had a lot of shit laying around. And I do mean laying around. You can't walk through some of the areas, but this was. I was looking at part of this was like the newer area. They're trying to upkeep it so it doesn't like really fall apart with I don't know. It's a historic landmark, so it's only so much they can do just to not compromise the integrity of how old it is, possibly. That's a nice gate. That's a lot heavy cast iron, maybe. I don't know. And there's stairs to go up, but you're not allowed to go there. They had one room where you could sit down on very uncomfortable benches and listen to a video that looped what every 20 minutes?
Yeah, it was a 20-minute loop. But yeah, even Edna Bell said you would have to house all the soldiers, feed them, clothe them, cooks in the kitchen. Like
Mm-hmm.
you would have to have such personnel on
Look, it's
both
the mini
sides.
cannon from Super Mario Brothers. Off the ship when you're bouncing around trying to not get hit by a cannon. It's a mini cannon. It's like a thumbnail cannon. Don't you just want one of these like in the corner of the living room? It's so adorable. It's a conversational piece, right? It looks like a strobe light. A really
It loo-
heavy strobe light. Oh, this is really good. Look at the arch, the wall, and different. The bricks go different ways. This way, that way. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Up, down, up, down.
the construction and the not just the material, but the
We've
angles
found the supplies.
is crazy.
This is actually sitting in a display room, and you don't know what's in the display room until you walk up to. It's like a doorway with a very chintzy little wooden gate, and you kind of have to lean in because of the sun and the angle and stuff. But you're like, what am I looking at? But you don't know until you're like up there looking in, and I'm like, okay, this is a lovely display of dirt, rocks, earth, and what man can do with dirt. So I smush it together, make a mud pie, and then it turns into a brick pie. And so, depending on your cooking skills, I can turn brownies into a brick. You know, some of these could be like just really bad brownies. Baking skills, yeah. I think that's European natural, some cement probably. American. Now these clear on your end to
Yeah.
read the
Yep.
because there are fuzzy. I can see European, American, natural, hydraulic. Can you read those?
You would have to go in just a smidge more, but natural hydraulic cement. Natural hydraulic cement with shell.
That's that one. Okay, that was the
Yeah.
first one. What is this?
Let's
European.
European natural cement.
I don't know which one's which.
American natural cement.
What's this
Then
one?
you have core sample battery Osceola something. I have no
Terracotta.
idea.
You can
Terracotta.
read that one.
Yeah, that's terracotta. There you go.
Terracotta. Okay, this one is New York Blue Slate. Now, how are they bringing in this stuff? There's nothing but like sand and coquina struck like type of shit laying around. We actually brought two coquina structured like rocks. We have three or four. We have two or three. It's over by the cat tower. We have them sitting on the floor. They're coquina because they're everywhere on the beach in the picnic area by the beach. They're everywhere. A salt and pepper granite. Escamaba.
Hmm.
Escanaba. Escambia. Okay. Escape. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. So yeah, not much explanation. Just a couple labels and a couple stones.
Oh, hey, Voynich. Didn't even know you were lurking around there.
Well, if they're lurking, you don't know they're there until they say, "Hey, oh,
What? Well, technically, he said good night, all. So maybe that just
oh."
means we're having
You
a
must.
good evening, or maybe he's going to bed. I don't know. Which is it?
Yeah, it's it's good. Good. It's a night or day. You can just say good, good. It's good. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Do that thing. Oh, I should totally probably clip them. It's from another YouTube channel. He does it really well. And like, it's good. It's good. It's good. I have no idea. I'm okay. So this is actually a tall, narrower archway that this side of the fort seems to be just newer. Something could have been the angle of the sunlight. Just doesn't seem to fit. Along with noticing at how dark and scorched all of this looks over here. Because we were able to walk on part of this up here, and it looks like it's just scorched. A roasted, toasted marshmallow without melting kind of thing. And then the old sidewalk. I guess you would call it the old sidewalk. But look how thick the entry, like the frame, the door, to say that's the wall though. It's the whole wall. It's so thick. And walls. I think they did more bowling than anything. I think these were just really fancy bowling alleys.
More than
The
likely.
star forts were just, I mean, can you imagine cracking those pins every time you like actually got a strike and the sound acoustic effect just echoing, carrying through the atmosphere? Because if you stand in one of these places, the sound, like I said, you could sing like Elsa even if you're tone deaf in the shower. You're going to sound like Elsa in one of these places. I just imagine like it's really fancy bowling alley.
Yeah.
Just cracking those pins.
Again, it's one of those things to where, as they say, you definitely need to do the boots on the ground, go in person, and you will just be stunned at the acoustics and how it all works and just everything. It's insane. There's no way to go there one time and not want to get back there.
So that was all the photos. I need to mute it. I want to mute it. This will be
Oh,
some of the.
we can't hear it anyway.
You don't want to hear me talking on top of me talking, but that's all it is. When I get to the video, that I remember where that kid was kind of crying, and I'll try and play the acoustic sound of it. But I want to go to Google.
Yes. Hi, Voynich. Yes.
And I'm going to get lost. I have to bring it up first and then bring it up. Open. I'm going to go to Google and share the location of what we're talking about.
Oh, are you gonna do like the Google?
Yeah, I'm going to do it. Hopefully it doesn't
Cool.
get echoey.
Well, if it does, I can do it.
Well, when either of us do it, it gets echoey. When share screen, entirety, the entirety. Because they don't need sound, it's Google Earth. Come on down, it's a lot of fun. Boom.
I'll switch my audio.
I think we're fine. I don't hear any echo.
Oh, maybe that's because you don't have any audio. That might be what does it.
It could be one of those kinks in the digital wonkiness of it all.
Or just perhaps maybe StreamYard fixed the problem.
If they like you, they might fix it for that day.
Maybe. That would be nice.
So this is Fort Zachary Taylor. Sorry for all the verbiage in the way. I don't have fancy Google. I have good enough Google. I wanted the whatever. So this is the beach down here that you can swim at. It's like I'm going to say half a lagoon. And I just noticed that tower. Sorry, squirrel. Oh, okay, that's not what I thought it was. Okay, no, never mind. Doing research on the tunnels, and I'm see other things. So this is the part that um, you can actually park. There's parking here and parking over here. There's a picnic area. There's the beach. You walk in here, and then I hate that. You pretty much can sign up for a tour if you're there at the right time, or you can just walk around. We were able to not be there on a weekday, or no, not be there on the weekend. We were there on a weekday. And try and zoom in without this getting too funny. So this part over here is a small platform that's like being on the third level, I guess, or two and a half, that you can walk in on or up on. And I'm just gonna angle it. There is cannons stuck, embedded in the structure of itself, of itself, concreted in. And there's a story of a ridiculousness that I can't even like really explain, to say that somehow the fort was abandoned, and things just, like shit let the shit hit the fan and fall where it lays, wherever that saying is. It's literally what it was like, listening to the tour guide say that these cannons got stuck there because they just kind of left them there. I mean, it was just such horse poo poo.
Well,
It's
it's
unbelievable.
not even it's not even that. When it comes to these cannons, okay, from the inside, where the window is, where the where the muzzle would is sticking out through the hole there.
These windows.
The ironic thing is they have chains from the cannon connecting into the wall itself of brick. Now,
There
if
were
any
latch bars.
now if anybody knows anything about
Kickback.
kickback, any type of concussiveness, okay, when these suckers go la boom, right?
Yeah, la
How
boom.
do you think that this brick is gonna hold this thing in place? There's no flipping way that two little chain links going into bricks is gonna hold back the kickback and concussiveness of these freaking cannons. I'm sorry, but that's cocky poo poo.
It's it's
There's
la
no
boom.
way. You
It's
do one
your
boom, I
imagination.
guarantee you it's going to rip those chain links out of that brick.
I don't care how
that
thick the wall is. Half of
that
it at least is coming down with every la boom, and you're probably only gonna get one good la boom in. Oh my gosh, babe! You know what you should do? Pull up, try and find a YouTube video of even demonstrating a cannon attached. See if you can find one attached to a wall. Go la boom. Because, oh god, even in the pirate movies on a ship, the kickback, they have to have like something a
well
little
they have
further in the wheel, and then the chain, so it doesn't go too far back, and then they got to reload it and then push it forward. I mean, you need at least 10 people on a cannon. I mean, I get how they, skeleton crew people nowadays, but you're not really going to be ready for any kind of battle if you don't have enough people on each cannon. So it's just cockapoo. So from here, I'm going to try and find this other structure without it throwing me 100 miles away. Okay, there it is. See right here? They have this behind the fence, unless you're military personnel or whatever pass you need. You cannot be walking around this right here.
they got that fenced off and they will not even allow you over there, which is to me
Yeah, we were
odd.
able to drive. down this street, and then we drove in this parking lot, and I showed some of the footage is in the intro. This is the gate to get in, and they'd be like, "No, you don't have the right hall pass. We need a Lido Dallas multi pass to probably get in."
More than
But
likely.
that's about it. So I'm gonna tilt this up, and then slowly, I'm gonna keep my mouse on it and expand. Okay, you can see Fort Street parking to the part of the fort that you can walk around on. To there's a battery. Oh, there's a part over here. Look at that. There's more of it over here. That's a really big golf ball. I'm joking. I'm joking. This is supposed to be a naval base, right? I was looking for
Yes, the
the
naval
actual.
base is there. That's why in the intro we caught the Blackhawks flying by. No, that's the
Oh,
outro.
that's in
Sorry.
the outro. You spoiled it.
Ah, I spoiled part of the outro. See,
Right. Oh,
you're
there's the
you're all gonna
cemetery.
like the outro. Seriously.
Oh, the U.S. Coast Guard.
Yeah.
And I swear there was something else. But we drove around. Well, I would say all of it's old, but no, actually, some of it's being so modernized you can't tell that it's old. Old Town, downtown, this is the tourist area towards Zachary Taylor, and a really cool overall, like, I can't complain about this place. I really can't, like, it's probably a little expensive. It's the only thing I could say, and I'm still shrugging as to say, just like justify
When you're
why it's
when
expensive.
you're
But this
when you're
place is just
there,
the
it's
atmosphere.
almost like it's like a like peace and serenity sort of feeling when you're walking around. It's just absolutely amazing there. There's no words for it. There really
Not just
isn't.
even a historic old feeling. I'm just like that tropical relaxation feeling. I mean, just kind of speechless. I go, you really
Oh,
can't describe
where were we swimming at? Wasn't it
Riga. Get
yep. Yeah, cuz we parked right there in that parking lot right there and then we walked.
look how close it is to the fort. So after a long day work of stacking bricks, you don't want to swim in this to get irritated skin. You come over here. It probably wasn't structured this way. Like obviously, you don't swim on this side because of current. What is it called? They always have those warning signs. The undertow. That's what Dory got stuck in.
Rip.
The rip
Those
tides.
are rip currents.
The rip currents. The rip tides.
Yes.
It was Rip Slinger from another movie combining finding Dory and planes right there. Aha! Caught
Now,
on the rip
so
tide.
since we're here, can you pull back far enough so we could get an idea again how far Taylor and Jefferson is?
Yes, I was going to use that.
Because because again, they're being built at the same time as the narrative goes. So you got 16 million bricks being shipped from Zach Taylor, where we were at, all the way over to Jefferson. 16 million bricks being shipped
I do
back
see
in
Google and I'm
18. Look how far away that is. Just
I'll
from
just
one to the other. And the distance is 61 or 62 miles, I believe, from one to the other.
I kept hearing 80. Now, it could be 80 because it's not straight through. You have to, even the ferry boats, and they have some jet propulsion. It's not wind. It's not a ferry. like a riverboat ferry with the whatever steam stuff. This there is a dotted line that usually appears to show which way the boats go. You have to go around the shallows, otherwise you hit the shallows and you die. Anybody ever watched the Crudes? Like, if you do something new, you die. And look at where the lighthouse is. This makes no sense. I know a lot of, I'll say a lot of channels. There's a few videos out there. They've covered Dry Tortuga National Park. It's where Fort Jefferson is because it's the biggest, 16 million bricks. It's a wonder because the darker blue it is, the deeper the water. But if you have to navigate all of those invisible lands, you're just going to run around. The lighthouse is over here. Makes a lot of sense, right? The fort is over here. There's the dotted line. This is the way the
ferry goes.
The ferry and the ships have to come in. So it's 2.5 hour ferry boat ride. And when I looked into this like last year, everybody said the last 45 minutes in is so rough. Nearly everybody was using the barf bag.
Which would make sense because that deep blue water would be that last 30, 45 minutes once you hit that.
But if you're talking about 18...
But
40s?
But yeah, you're talking 1850. You're going to ship 16 million bricks from Taylor to Dry Tortuga. And why do they call it Dry Tortuga? Go ahead.
There's no fresh water.
Zero fresh water.
No drinking water, no fresh water. Tortuga means turtle. Okay, so this yellow line is the road. And along parts of that is the old bridge that originally was just a train track, then was converted into a bridge for vehicles, but had been hit by a couple storms, so altogether what's left of it still sits there, but they can't use it because it's compromised. So it's a long drive. Thankfully, there are a lot of areas to stop at, and especially when you get to Marathon and afterwards, there's no, everything is just pretty much so damn beautiful. I miss it.
Yeah. We'll definitely have to get back there, but this going down there to Key West is definitely something I wish everyone would have the opportunity to do at some point.
We made a day out of it just to, because with time and money, we mapped this out like a month. We did as much, I want to say much research as you can do to still like never be somewhere and do the research and then try to plan things out and have an idea. And the way we did it worked, but it's still after you experience your plan of adventure, you're like, we should have did this and that totally differently. But it's a fun part of living and learning. We made the best of it because we definitely knew that because it's going to be a long drive, the speed you're allotted to do is not that fast. Nope. That's the drag of it. You are not allowed to fly down those roads. You are not allowed to fly past all of the beautiful scenery.
Yeah, they don't allow it. I think it's like, what, 45? Average, 45, I want to say it's average.
Because
you do about 45 mile per hour average. Now, I will say something that they do down throughout this entire stretch, just a heads up. you will see a lot of patrol cars just sitting on the side of the road unmanned. And obviously they do that for prop to keep people to slow down.
It
But
works.
but there are also some of the patrol units manned. So you don't know which one's manned and which one isn't. So
Until you're like,
it's
honestly,
a
until you're next to it because they're sun scorched.
yeah, it's actually it's a really good setup and design, to I guess, keep people safe and
Wish they wasn't done.
not
I'm gonna go back
buzz
to.
around so fast. So I kind of like the idea. But
Okay.
yes, it's a long drive.
Wow, why is that sped up? So back to some footage of us just parking and then walking up and walking around this wonderful, wonderful place. This is just the entrance. So this is a depiction, without the glare, of what it's supposed to be in the timeline. Trying to get around the glare. Let me see if I can just pause and then skim. You can get a better idea. Can you see that okay? I
Yeah,
can't zoom
that's
in because it's a video. But it is expanded all the way. So construction began in 1845. Longest serving U.S. coastal fortification. The
fortification.
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 Fortification. Say it really
Fortification.
fast in another accent. Okay, served in American Civil War. It served in. It's like the sentence structure is weird. In 1861, 1898, Battery Ascola built for the Spanish-American War, so they added to it. Interesting. 1914 served in. Oh, two. I think that 1945 served in the World Wars One and Two, and served during the Cuban Missile Crisis. I bet it wasn't useful at all. I bet it could totally just boom. This thing looks like crap now. From 1845 to 1962, I bet it looked worse then. Oh, that's better shot. There we go. Look at that. That's supposed to be the moat, the walking bridge. It's supposed to be a square. Oh, it doesn't
It
even look like that now. Look at
yeah,
all the
that
tiny little cannons. It's a great depiction.
we love depictions.
Okay, national landmark in 1973. Howard England excavation. That makes no sense. How do you have this sitting here for the Cuban Missile Crisis in 62, and then between 1968 and 1976, almost 10 years, there's this guy who came in and excavated the place too. Bullshit. And then it became a park in 85. Believable. It's a park, for sure. You just walk around and sing tra la 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 la, and you sound like Whitney Houston. I'm just gonna pause it, and we're gonna skim those old pictures, old colored pictures, and hiking trails. And Fort DeSoto has a snack bar. So, talking to the kids about this, that, and the other thing, because why not? I hate the fact that this doesn't have. Whoa! Not what I meant to do. Here's the kids trying to pretend to pick up the cannonballs. They're so heavy. Oh, they're stacked together. Oh, they're fused. The heat. They fuse together in the heat. They're literally trying to. When you can amuse the kids.
Yes, the balls melted and fused together.
It's hot. This was March, and you still sweat beads like you're in the shower. You just sweat.
You will detox down here whether you want to or not. Let's put it to you that way.
Just to find the humor in everything. Just I can't pick it up. It's so heavy. Ah. That's basically what I was joking. I don't know how to get the next button. This I have to exit every time. All right, walking up says stairs. Caution. Why did I say caution? It's historical. Uneven
Surfaces.
ruins.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know. I used to have a different setup when I would play videos. So this is a platform. Technically, that one of the cannons, would be on. And in some of the forts, I want to call it an indent. Some of them are very much like a battery. Say there's a positive and a negative, and they would put the depiction of these cannon blasters on these platforms. That's the word I'm looking for. Whether it was raised platform or indented. And I'm like, what? Why is some raised and why are some indented? And I'm like, there's just no real logic, reasoning to anything. I was skimming. I go, I feel like I'm so wobbly with the camera. But yeah, for some reason, it's either painted tar, which it didn't smell like tar, it didn't look and feel like tar, it just looked smoke scorched along this side of the wall. And there's just the simple explanation of apparently there was a fire. Because I overheard the ranger talking. So yeah, in this corridor area where we walked in at is down here on the side. That's where the family with the child was leaving. And I was standing over here, and this whole area just resonated with a musical song of a whiny child. And it was beautiful. And that's never beautiful. So this area, honestly, felt so much newer, even though it's falling apart. Because in every opening, you can lean in here. They had some display, as I showed in some of the pictures. You could look through the windows, but the opening with the little gate had more opening into whatever they were displaying. I almost felt like we did go backwards, which I like doing most of the time. But because the displays were talking about the structure itself, even the room way over here where the video was playing, would have been kind of nice to have known that's where that was before we walked around everywhere. I would have sat down for 20 minutes to get a different story or the story before walking around, because this took, oh my, almost 3 hours because I wanted to be thorough. So I took my time. I'm going to back up. Like, hoist the cannons. I'll say hoist the colors. The structure itself of whatever part was new and old. This part over here is appear to be the oldest. So, a little decoration of nothing to see here with making it scorched like there was a fire. there's like nothing much to look at or see in the details, especially when you paint over stuff. It's harder to tell. So here's the platform that kind of goes up to what would be a third level.
Hey, my shitty. Welcome.
Do you have it ready, babe?
Uh, yeah.
Go for it. Hopefully, we get away with that little bit of a copyright.
Nah.
we, we
Okay.
have we have certain ideas when we like hear a name, and we were like, hey, like she said, she pointed out the song. So there you go. There's your little song. And
Yep.
Emilio's isn't here, but we have that thing from Night at the Roxbury for Emilio's.
Yes, Emilio.
We do sit around and think about relatable things that just pop up in your head because that's life, right? So we're like, what can we do for so and so? Because they show up a lot. I'm like, Drew, we haven't figured out yours yet. And anybody else that like shows up, but when it comes to mind, we go and we find and we try to put something together because it's fun. It's
Yeah.
fun to put stuff together.
Well, we try to, I guess, just connect and relate with our viewers that way. So, yeah, if we can find something for Drew Duncan, we'll try. We'll keep looking.
So this is the part I was showing from Google Earth aerial shot looking down where these cannons apparently are embedded in the structure because like they fell over and they just left them there. And the tour guide ranger dude is 20 feet away talking, but I can't really hear him on the recording. So there's this class over there of tourists listening to the story of a lovely lady who was bringing up to the yeah, the story. That's what happens.
Oh, Shetty said Dunkin' Donut, maybe the
Uh-oh.
Dunkin' Donut. Uh-oh.
Oh, what was that old commercial of running on Duncan?
Oh
What was
yes,
that line?
yes,
Was it Everybody Runs on Duncan? That almost sounds like we're running
yes.
on
I think.
Duncan.
All right, everyone start running on Dunkin'. Oh my God.
So we gotta make it sound like, no, we run on Duncan. Like we get that positive dose of coffee, adrenaline, and we can keep running and researching and never ending adventure. So this platform right here would have been, I guess, the floor for the third level from that depiction drawing that we saw in the other video when we were walking into the park. And it's funny, these are not easy to climb up and down on. They're not wobbly, but some reason you feel like you're gonna wobble and fall. Like I just went ahead and walked backwards up and down because that was like something else. Okay, back on solid ground. Don't you love it when they put a guy inside the cannon where the ammo's supposed to be? Battery Ascola was added to the fort in 1898. It mounted two 12-inch long-range rifles. I want to zoom in, but it's a video. Um, The guns each weighed over 117,000 pounds. In 1898. I don't care. It's like it's still like saying like 1850. 1898. They have two of these in Fort DeSoto that you can stand next to and take a picture of the drawing right there, the depiction, semi picture on the second of like 117,000 pounds. Am I saying that right? Can you see that number? 117.
Oh, hold on. Let me go full screen with the YouTube. Can you go in just a little? Oh, you can't zoom
I
in. It's a
can't. I
video.
know. I'm looking at asking you in
Yeah,
your
that
eyeball.
says 117,000 pounds.
6 digits. And fired shells which could reach targets over 30,000 yards or almost 17 miles. The older cannons, there's a placard that says like 3 miles. They fired shells which weighed almost 1,000 pounds. What? Where are you factory making this shit and transporting all the pieces separately? Like build it yourself, erector set when it gets to the destination fortress? Like erector set. You know those ships in a bottle or model cars type stuff? Can you you kind of at which point does it weigh 1,000 pounds? Before or after adding the actual explosive? Is the explosive part only like 3 pounds? Like I don't see these are on like battleships today, right? Pretty much. Or if you watch Pearl Harbor, like you're on a is it battleship?
Okay, check this out. So, 117,000 pounds, just for people's curiosity, is 58.5 ton, or you might as well say 59 ton.
How many
Now,
elephants is that?
hold on, just for an idea, that would be somewhat of 23-ton pickup trucks. So if you take 20 of the big 3-ton pickup trucks and squish them together, that's how much one weighs.
Oh, I mean,
23-ton pickups. That is just
how many pickup trucks are you talking? Like
20.
our F-150
No, I'm talking
or
about the big boys, the 3-ton pickup trucks.
18 wheelers?
Well, they're pickups, but
Well,
they're
no, because even
heavy.
from the south to the north, we have verbiage that's definitely different. You grew up in Florida, I grew up in Michigan, and then there's in between. Um, you got West Coast
Well,
Valley Girl stuff. I kind of fall into that trap sometimes, and then you've got the East Coast.
yeah.
Um, they have a whole their vocabulary word. So an 18 wheeler like semi truck. Is that what it's? Is it kind of talking about pickup trucks? To me, is
Something.
an F-150.
Well, the F-150s are only 3/4 ton, so you would need kind of like 4 F-150s to make 1 ton. 4 F-150s would be 1 ton, and you would need 20 ton.
So how many
That
elephants is?
that is some
Do you remember in
serious.
school how they would say how they would compare certain things to
That's
like an
insane.
elephant? I don't see. Again, I don't know if they did that down here. In my school, me growing up in Michigan, southern parts of Michigan, they would always compare something massively heavy when they would say ton or a couple tons to elephants, like full grown African elephants or something like that. Or if we had just talked about woolly mammoths, they would, even bigger than an elephant, talk about it like compared to an animal because or you know what, school buses. They would talk about school buses. Like, how many school buses long is the dinosaur? That was our
Oh
education.
yeah.
No wonder why we're so, like, we're having a hard time questioning stuff. How many school buses long is that cannon? Oh, we're okay. Yep,
Well,
that's believable.
apparently school
So
buses
believable.
go for about 13 to 15 ton.
Okay, they had the hoist the cannons. See, we had to hoist the cannons,
Oh
not
my
just hoist
god.
the colors. Oh man, that looks too modern. I don't think it was that. That looks like 1920s maybe. That's just malarkey. Structural integrity compromised. The cannons will just tear that shit apart. Holy cow! That's why it's probably older than it could be. Look at that. That is a thick doorway into. This is the battery stage. So where they were hoisting um, the pulley system of sorts is where when we were up on the second deck. Should just call it a deck, a level. And cheese. And moving on. Eventually. Moving on. Cheese. Yep. I don't know which is worse than me, like, dragging it across or not. But this is This is burnt, scorched. Ew. And you can't walk over there, but you can walk up and read the placard.
Shetty said it's her mom's birthday tomorrow.
Oh, it's
Happy birthday to
oh
mums.
my god! I got the Chica happy birthday to you. That's what we grew up. My kids grew up with that song. That was a better song. Um, if we remember, we'll try to pull it up at the end before we head out. We'll like show you guys. I don't know. It might be copyrighted, but if you Google it, my Sherry, Google or YouTube it. Chica from Sprout, happy birthday song. It's really cute. It's a really, really cute version of the song. It'll get stuck in your head, but in a good way, because I think it's a great song for singing happy birthday. The Sherlock Holmes of Fort Zachary Taylor. This
Hey,
guy
hey
did
JJ.
excellent. Yeah.
Shetty called Duncan the island guy.
Island guy. He is an island.
Are
Northern
you the
Island.
island guy? Do you come from the island?
Oh, is he like Joe versus the volcano?
Yeah.
The island guy. He is on the Ring of Fire. He's on the.
Yes, he is.
Ooh, maybe we could just do that for. We'll find the old movie clip. Joe versus the volcano. It's Tom Hanks. My mom watched it a lot. Okay. New beginnings. In July of 1968, Howard, England, was tasked to evaluate the value. Did I say that right? I hate it. I hate English. I really do. Evaluate the value. It's a freaking military fort. What do you mean evaluate the value? Just that line alone is ridiculous. Which was then the Navy's junkyard. Just 10 years, not even 10 years. Wait, it was 62 was the Cuban Missile Crisis. Oh, just absolutely mind-blowing. It was the Navy's junkyard. The first excavation in December of 68 quickly revealed buried, buried, I'll call it buried Civil War armaments. For 8 years, Howard England labored tirelessly with his volunteers, with his volunteer sandhogs, often making many hours working. I don't know why I said making. Oh my god. Working many hours alone. Making hours. He's in control of time itself. All told, all told, he excavated over 50,000 cubic yards. Now, if you know anything about math, we never learned what a cubic yard was. I only heard about cubic yard measurements or cubics in the Bible. And of course, they're not going to actually teach you that in math class. But you still had to sit there. I go, even in algebra or a trigonometry, I never heard of cubic yard. Like they didn't, maybe it was just the northern Michigan thing of not being taught certain things. I never heard of cubic yard. Anyways, oh, here we go. Equivalent to filling approximately 3,300 semi trailer trucks. Those are 18 wheelers. The big semi trucks that bring your toilet paper to the store. 3,300 semi trailers. Of fill and rubble and uncovered 20 large guns along with their car- carriages of thousands of blah blah blah. I thought it was so interesting. I walked away. That's why I had to pause it there. So yeah, oops. I was gonna try and there we go. I don't have a slow down button on this thing. I'm in the wrong something or other. Here is what I would call the original structure of what's left of it with these bricks and how thick and intricately designed it is. Ooh, I actually said the word right. I mean, it's just blows my mind looking at this footage again and walking through here and just being me trying to be so detailed with the footage and still I can't even. I did good for a year ago and only being like a few months into looking at some channels with some of their videos to try and talk about bricks and construction and star forts. I was processing so much, but boots on the ground, like walking around an area, if you can get to certain key areas like Star Fort, freaking Star Fort, fortress, military, whatever the fuck they want to call it, definitely helps process more. Like it's hands-on learning experience. It was just absolutely like, oh, the floor right here is like I want to call it a slate.
Yeah, that's like a
And that
slate.
shit is fragile. That shit can be so like fragile when you're transporting it.
Um, JJ, have you heard of a show? You probably have, called The Mighty Boosh? Boosh.
Actually, no, I haven't. But
Okay.
I'm smirking
Drew,
because it.
Drew Duncan said there once was a show called The Mighty Boosh, and on one of the episodes was a guy pretending to be stranded on an island, and he really wasn't, and grabbed the boat off the fake background. That's almost kind of funny. So it was like a prop set or something, and he grabbed the boat off of a fake background. Huh. I'll
I
have to look
have
into that. The Mighty
okay.
Boosh. Okay.
I just think
The mighty
all
Boosh.
I can think of is the Truman Show when he tries to leave. Um, but when I was first smirking, I could only think of the '90s group La Bouche or
Oh, La Boosh.
La Bounce.
Or Das
And
Boosh. Or Das. No, that's
it's a
Das.
dance song. It is a Club 90 dance song of, I think it's called "Be My Lover," of La Bouche or La Bounce. I forget. Like it's La Bouche in French, I think.
Oh, it's on Adult Swim. That's probably why JJ haven't seen it. I
Yeah,
saw I saw some Adult Swim shows, but
it's an old show. Look at that. Like that. Oh,
not
that's
too bad.
Coquina. That is technically Coquina, the she shell.
Yes. Okay, okay, hold on. I'm gonna go
Trying
full
to.
screen.
Okay.
I'm gonna go full screen here. This coquina apparently absorbs cannonballs being shot at the structure.
It
Like
makes a
it won't.
slight indent.
Yeah, it just makes an indent. Like it literally absorbs the ball itself. It doesn't blast through. It doesn't like shatter stuff, shrapnel. It actually just hits the
Because
coquina and absorbs it.
this
No
is what the St. Augustine, I forget the name of it, Mariona? Mario?
coquina.
It's the St. Augustine Star Fortress is made out of, is coquina, like all of it. Because they said, I believe that one actually got struck once or twice, but I don't think it was real bad. Like it was quality testing. Let's say. No, this is crazy because you have this coquina mixture to the brick, and it's like there's more brick structure that you can't see. The coquina is in the way. All right, so this opening of a window has been bricked in. So this should be an opening for a cannon, and this down here, there's more down the hallway as I'm pointing as if you can kind of see me. There's more down the hallway to the right. This is where they would hook in the cannons, and it wasn't chains, or at least when they were demonstrating one of them, they never, the depiction of it being set up, not the actual demonstration of cannon toe. They had it attached to the wall in some, it wasn't chains, it was like metal strap, like just, it's ridiculous. I can't even like, it's ridiculous. It's like it looks like an oven, like a pizza fire stove brick oven,
That's what Annabelle just said. It looks like a pizza oven.
right? And then
Which is weird because that right there on the
trying to get,
floor, that is technically the groundwork for a cannon.
this is supposed where it like swivels on its like train wheels, like not training wheels, but I'm okay. The wheels on the bus go around and round. Okay, just look at the coquina in the brick and just see how they tried to blend it, structurize it, and it's like it's interfering with the possibility of a cannon being there because the wheels that the cannons are on, they make it look like they were always pulled back and pushed forward, when actually this down here is a swivel to actually
That's what
swivel in a
goes left to right.
chair to
Yep.
reload it apparently. And you have a couple different kinds of bricks going on here, not just the coquina structure, but these down here, and then this is probably the New York slate, something or other that was in the presentation room. Yep. Order up, Pepperoni pizza.
Oh, shout out to Berserker Bear. He did something
I was like,
about pizzas and wings and how the water uh,
oh, their water is absolutely
affects the
fabulous.
dough, which is actually
It does.
really interesting stuff because it does. So, shout out to Berserker Bear if no one knows about him.
This is just like, what are you hiding behind the coquina? What's behind the coquina curtain? I'm okay. There's so many different types of material going on here that goes into like I want to say construction, architecture, blueprints, design. That the way things are detailed nowadays, compared to if you have ever seen an example or depiction of what a blueprint was like back in the day, it's how like a 12-year-old is gonna build a tree fort blueprint. We're gonna put some sticks over here, some sticks this way, some sticks that way, and maybe how wide or long they are. I mean, just maybe. I'm like, there is so much going on in this, just this small part alone of so many different materials, so much
Oh my!
resources
I
to be
think my
shipped in.
I think Shadi has to take off.
Oh, okay. Thanks for stopping by. You want to do the exit song? Give her salutations. We worked on that together, mostly me. Finding a clip with the song and timing it up. I can't put it together. I could have. It probably would have taken me like 12 more hours than he was able
Yeah,
to put it together in like 20 minutes.
I'll put us on screen. Thank you. We will
Oh, I
see
have
you
a
again.
delay. I have a delay. Like, there we go. There we go. Okay. So much brick. So many bricks. Just so crazy with. Ah, that was fuzzy. Just curve, curve, arch, curve, arch, curve, arch.
Now, you know what? Something that I believe we pointed out and talked about this. Okay, if you're gonna build a military fort, so to speak, I mean, yeah, you have to have, the sound structure for it to hold, right? But here's the thing. Why would you put so much detail into arches and the intricacy when it's a military fort that's possibly gonna get obliterated?
What was wrong with the logs
Like
and the sticks that
it
they said
it
the forts
it
were
it,
usually made out of?
it makes no sense.
To then somehow, because you gotta make these bricks, then that's always been a big question. They've been asking when I showed up a year ago and listening to a couple of channels talk about this, the bricks. One being the other fort that's 60 to 80 miles as the crow flies. 16 million bricks. This thing is like a quarter of it, and it still looks like it's got 16 million bricks in this shot right here. Let's see, this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bricks across, depending on how you lay them, but still, it's pretty damn thick. And you, even like up here, and the archway and the ceiling, like these are red clay fire bricks. Like just looking at them and trying to remember because I was trying to use all my senses and look at that ceiling. And it's a ceiling, and it's like one arch ceiling after another in between arch doorways and column, just the whole hallway. And this is what's, I would say, the oldest original part. Look at this. This is a smaller doorway with a bigger doorway of just, and the acoustic sounds. Walking around this place, I could probably go here every day for a month, and I still wouldn't be able to wrap my head around it from sun up to sundown. Listening to other people's theories and ideas, and what's the splits for? I walk up to them, I'm like, it's not a window. You can't really see because it curves inside of it. It curves. Some of them are like windows, and some of them, because they're all different. Like, what is that all about? I think that's actually the backside to the one hallway we went into that creeped me out. It was like a dead end, but you could walk like 5 feet in, and then there's a little wooden gate. And I felt so uncomfortable, so unwelcomed. I was like, I had to walk out backwards.
Oh, look! You can see it on the floor again.
Yeah, that
That's where the
metal
cannon
piece.
would swivel. And they're acting like the muzzle of a cannon would fit through this little hole, which it probably could, but
No,
it's like the no, that
not without like every
just
time
no
it
way.
no, every time it lit, you just blast it, it would rock and shit. Kick back. Even like, you cannot bolt something down, or you can chain it down so you have a little give, but bolt it down and chain it down, and every time it doesn't hit or nick the wall or something, the window structure in itself. There's just it's just the hallways itself, just walking around. It's like I'm in a castle, a castle type structure, and then there's another room over here off the hallway. This is like the point, or like the peak into the moat that stands out. Crossfire. Remember Crossfire, that game from the 90s? Crossfire!
Yeah, but even if you pause
Pound
it in
Hero.
those
Okay, that one.
uh
You're gonna
like in
hit.
the corners, it's crazy.
I don't
Uh,
know what this isn't an actual cannon. There's something else that's sitting here, but say any kind of cannon, you have a good chance of hitting your own wall if it's not lined up perfectly. To say this is supposed to just, skim across the waters. Let's say the vegetation wasn't there. The beach is over there, and like none of it, none of it,
the
no.
narrative just doesn't add up.
Such wonderful, like crazy mega structure of design and material, and yet the stupidest story I could hear to say cannons were the way they tell us what cannons were for. It's a beautiful view. Like this I would believe it if it was a hotel. Tell me this was a hotel.
It would be a great fishing sort of idea, maybe.
It's in the center of the room. Looks like to say that there's a system underneath it. That's what for the water. Look, the drainage system. for the I want to call it aqueduct, the water reservoir of fresh water. They held it underneath, next to the dirty ass algae moat, because I think they said in Fort Jefferson, the one out in Dry Tortuga, the structure of the where they held the fresh water underneath, one of the walls compromised at some point, and the salt water leaked in, and they didn't have fresh water again. It's always a problem. You have 7 foot thick ass walls on top. You think that that's what's underneath in the dirt, and somehow the salt water got through, and there's no fresh water.
Well, like I was pointing out, guys, can you pause that right there? Right there, right there.
I can.
Look at the ceiling. Look at the wall. Look at the ceiling right there. You see how it's like a V? Like what is the if you really look at the corners of the ceilings, as it looks around, like I said, it's
This
kind of
is a
like it's like
pointed
a
arch
welding beads, right?
wall.
Why are they shaped like this? What is the purpose, right? I mean, again, if this is military, what is the purpose of this?
And it's so smooth.
It
Like,
it
this is
it it,
expertise.
it makes no sense to build it like this if it's for military, because again, the whole point of military structures is to prepare for war, and stuff that deals with
Get in,
war
get out.
gets it explodes. So if cannonballs are supposedly coming in and destroying, there's no reason to build it like this. It just
To have
the narrative is terrible.
a million bricks, even just to have a million bricks, not just 16 million. Walking around this place, I go, this isn't even like, this is off the hallway. This is a separate room off the hallway,
Oh,
connected in such a flawless.
look at the
Looks
ceiling.
like
Look,
a big
yeah.
ass oven.
Look. Oh my
Pizza,
gosh.
pizza brick oven. This is where you're gonna hook up a cannon. You're gonna hook up the cannon. The cannon wheels will like, they sit sideways, and then it gets pulled to the ass gets swung over to the left, and the front of it's facing the right. And apparently, you would load in a really heavy ass ball thing, like it's all malarkey, and then to straighten it back up perfectly, and then till it's latched into the wall. And if you've ever kickback, any kind of kickback, I don't care what, with what do they call it? What's that? I can't think of it. It's like a firework. It shoots off, it kicks back, it has like this huge edge like jump. So further down this hallway, you'll see a cannon is actually pulled up to a window, like it's ready to go.
I was gonna say, I think that's where it's chain linked to the wall.
And each of these cannons,
It's
this is like for display only, because each of these cannons is different, or half of them are, they don't match in a sense. I'm thinking, if you can factory make all of the bricks in a flawless setting, but they factory malfunction the cannons, they're too big for their own good. But the ceiling, the arches, and the yeah, I want to call it an easy bake oven. The pizza oven looking windows. That is so narrow. So narrow. It's good for acoustics, singing, music. Look at how big and heavy, like this, even if they're on wheels, like none of this makes sense. Oh, she found, like, cannon, like there's a hole compromised up there.
Oh,
That was a misfire. It was a
that
misfire.
that was a misfire. Yeah. Watch out for those assault cannons.
Oh my god. Well, then it's a misfire. You have assault bricks because they're gonna cave in on you. Oh man. Oh, here's the creepy hallway. Yeah, this slit right
Yes.
here, it's like an S bend or something in the thick ass wall to the other slit on the other side of the wall. And there's an opening up there. It's just an opening, like inside a hallway. That this goes under something between in the hallway of the pillars and stuff. Like it bends like L shaped, yeah, S or L shaped. I'm like,
Oh,
this
can you
goes.
pause that? Yeah, right there. Can you pause it? Now, real quick, I want to say that there was an energy here. Right
This is
here
the creepy.
specifically, there was a high energy here. And let me tell you, JJ wanted nothing to do with it, and she was just like,
Pivot! 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 Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Okay, I don't think it's gonna pivot anymore. You think?
In a sense
eh.
of saying pivoting, I walked. They already walked in here. They came and got me and said, "Look at the hallway we found. You need to check it out." I was standing at the opening. I'm in the hallway where the camera shot is because I take all the footage. I was standing in the hallway, not wanting to walk in, and I looked at Joe Cool. I was like, "Do you feel that?" And he goes, "Feel what?" He was playing dumb with me. I said, "Do you feel that? That negative, unwelcoming energy, like." Oh, okay. If anybody ever seen The Grudge slash The Ring, kind of like, even looking at it now, I'm like, oh, just so it turns and you can walk back because this is an arch right here. I swear it has to dead end right there, but there's a no gate. You can't go past it.
I wanted to go in
He
there.
was gonna like
Honestly, I'm like, I want to hop
figure out how
that
to open
thing
it and
and
hop it or something, but yeah, there's an arch like you're supposed to be able to like walk
walk
somewhere
through there.
back there, but there was such a heavy negative energy. I walked backwards out of it. He's pointing to it, and then this still it's like connected to it or something. I was like, and it's dark. It is dark, and that's a weird opening up there, like with the arch
Yep.
ceiling. I stop and turn around because I squirrel, even though I was creeped out to the 10,000th power of being creeped out. The arch of the ceiling in this little narrow hallway.
Yeah. Yeah, you got this hole that goes again in behind this wall that's blocked off. What is the purpose of that up there? Ventilation? Really? Like really? But
Yeah, so I am walking backwards because I can feel like the creepy demonic. I'll just say it. This creepy demonic creature from like Lovecraft's book of drawings of just the makes me want to gag right. Like it's such a powerful feeling. You just overwhelmed, like you need to throw up or something. But then I was like, look at that ceiling, look at the wall. I'm sorry, it's fuzzy because it's dark and it's a very narrow. It's like 3 feet wide compared to the rest of the structure. As I'm trying to deal with this creepy ass feeling going on. I was
again, yeah. Look at
I was
that.
close enough to the light
That's just
in
incredible.
this hallway, this little hallway. Made absolutely no sense. because I don't have the blueprints. I'll just say it that way. I don't have the blueprints. It made no sense as to what was going on. And there's a cannon. And extra people. So I'm literally just sizing up the window with this cannon, looking at it like, even if it was pulled up all the way, just no flipping way. But let's take a second and look at the arch and how long the hallway is, and the arch, just the repeated pattern of the arched structure of the whole thing. It's just makes a lot of sense, don't it? There's a lot of donuts around here. Come on, Duncan. Donut makes sense. It's the donuts. It's all about them donuts.
It do not make sense.
This was creepy because I couldn't tell if it was water or reflection or something. I guess the water was reflecting, and there was something in there. I was like, that was kind of hard to look at. But that's to say, like, walking around most of this place didn't creep me out. Certain areas were very creepy. Unwelcoming, dark energy creepy. There's another area, the end of the hallway, that appears to be the bathroom vicinity, but one of the kids looked at me and was like, is this where they make pizzas? Because they're circular coverings. Okay. Oh, I gotta back it up right there. Here, I wish I could zoom in. On the bottom part, under the window, there's this interesting design, but this is where they would latch the cannons to the wall. Makes a lot of sense, right? Was it going to compromise the wall because it's 10 feet thick of red bricks? And in between, I want to say this is like where they collected the rainwater, I guess. I still can't wrap my head around it. We walked around this place, and it's amazing in itself. And you definitely be like, if they never had a story for these structures, you'd be like, what was this place? No matter what. And the first thought would probably be castle. And even castles are like fortified structures for kind of like military, political, Here's the cannon lined up and strapped to the wall. No kickback, right? That whole thing would bust the window and the wall, or just even explode in and of itself. I think we were talking about how a crew people would have to lean forward and eyeball and line it up. I'm like, that is...
Look at...
Do you want to say tethered to the wall?
Hold on. I'm going to go full screen so people can actually see this. There we go.
I'm trying to make sure as least fuzzy as possible. There we go. That is tethered. Like bolted, screwed. I have no idea. Like, none of it makes sense. Even
Imagine the concussiveness of this thing just going boom. When you load it, put the powder in, put the ball in there, hit the boom, and you're telling me that it ain't gonna completely destroy those bricks.
You see, even when you watch the battle scenes in like Pirates of the Caribbean, and they show them loading the small cannons with the cannonballs, these things are like 20 pounds, if not at least, and that's the small cannons, and they're chained to some beam structure possibly in the ship so it doesn't rip the wall structure compromised of the ship. but they have kickback that rolls back, and then they have to all like 5 of them apparently. I know they're acting, but that's the depiction of loading the cannonball, the gunpowder, and then putting it up, sticking it just barely out the window, firing the cannon
I
aiming as best as you can.
I mean I
Kickback.
mean I mean what do you viewers think about this depiction of a cannon supposedly being blasted out this window on wheels attached to bricks to hold it in place, of course. I mean, look how big this thing is.
I don't know why I keep saying cannon toe. It's like Thundercats. Why do I keep saying
That's
cannon toe? It's like Thundercats. Ho!
I mean, look how big our look how big our kids are. And look how big this thing is. This is
Oh, we're
crazy.
talking about that bar down there is what you stick in the hole like to adjust it.
To a yes, adjust the angle of
And
the cannon itself.
she was a 12 at the time, and
Yeah.
even me, like when you touch this bar, it's like 100 pounds by itself. So, like bench pressing the bar, 75 pounds or something when you go to the gym, that itself was heavy because it needs to be strong and sturdy. But then to stick it in and adjust something, like adjusting something, I'm
Oh
like,
my.
doesn't that look believable? Just use your imagination. Just, whoosh. This is probably the best video. I just took so much time going. I looked at the cannon and I looked out the window. I'm like,
It's
oh.
yeah. That is such a small
It's not even, you can't even
window.
pull it all to the window. You're still like 5 feet. 5 feet. You gotta aim it precisely. If you nick the edge of the window,
What
you're
is
not
that
doing
one?
steps. You're
That's
not
not
doing
even two. That's one. That's one chain link holding that together.
that's not even a chain.
Good grief. That thing
That's not
will
even a
rip it
chain.
right
Like,
out. One blast. It's all it would take. One blast and that whole freaking wall will probably come down. There's just yeah, exactly. And Bell, you can't even aim because the window's so
see,
small.
I
I,
stood up like with the camera saying, "This is the guesswork."
this just does not make sense. That's all you can say over and over is just this doesn't make sense. It,
Because even if the nozzle, I'm gonna call it a nozzle, stuck out the window and you had that kickback, the kickback doesn't just go back. It can go left, right. It can go wonky. It can go catawampus really fast. Like you were gonna hit the wall, structure, window, you name it. You were gonna hit and tear up your structure yourself. The enemy just can sit back, relax, and have a pina colada. I don't think they had them back then, but something like, isn't that fucking believable? Look at the pictures of reenactment. It's teamwork for sure. But I'm sitting here going like, I don't think so. Because this guy is standing, like he needs to actually bend his knees and squat right over the top of this cannon to make sure it's lined up. Eyeballs, cannon eyeball sight, like
well, yeah, yeah. When you have what a 1 inch range radius due to the window being so small. Yep. Yeah. All you can do is laugh almost. It's like What the frick?
Yeah, now I know why the third floor, the third tier, you know why it got taken down? Because they fucked it up with their own shit.
You
They
know what,
blasted the shit
Edna?
from inside.
You know what, Edna Bell? You are perfectly correct. They can't even see what they are shooting at. You're right, because right across the moat, right, is the land before the ocean. And when you look out those windows, you're
Win-
right.
Windows.
You can't even see out the firing hole of what you're really aiming at. One, because the land is already in the way. It's like, oh my god. Yeah, yeah. The narrative is just such crock. It,
But the acoustics were beautiful. I was just like the resonating the resonant. I can't say it right. I wish I had like a tuning fork set or a xylophone. Is it a xylophone? It sounds like
yeah.
bells, but it's not bells. It's xylophone. Kind of like instrument, like not drums, because that's like blasting the cannons. I swear, like something prettier. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, this place is simply stunning. You would have to just go through here and
Yeah, we
wow.
were we were hesitant to even though the sun's up, there's little windows everywhere, but it got dark and it got like the energy vibe. It got weird and crazy and sounding like not sounds, but the energy of it on this side. Um, the end of the hallway, I guess you could say, got uncomfortable. It looked like a jellyfish, a jelly, but it wasn't. It was solid because I poked at it with the phone. I wasn't touching it with my hand or anything because it was wet. So in here, again, it's like end of a hallway. You have it's not even a 90-degree angle, like a room off to the side. You have this little room, and then there's this hallway, which looks like when you go down it. We had a hard time going down it. It's a dead end. And it was just the energy. I was like, I can angle that. Look at this little bitty window. Just layer like one. What do I do? I can see 8 layers.
Staggered layers too.
8 layers. Zoomy layers. Yes, I enjoy referencing some of the children's shows that we used to watch with the kids. Some of them are just simply, simply funny. If you don't know Umizoomi, that's okay. But that's the show. I think it was Nickelodeon. Umizoomi actually talked about shapes and counting. Like it was a really great show. Some crazy, weird adventures because it's a kid show. But one of the characters' names is Geo. Geo. And he was in charge of shapes. Okay. Here is what I believe to be the bathrooms or the actual, what looks like the pizza oven maker.
The
And I
kitchen
did,
area, maybe.
yeah, no. Mm-mm. I did walk all the way. This is a dead end. Again, very, 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 very uncomfortable, unwelcoming, crazy feeling. I didn't say anything out loud as I'm trying to walk with the kids and not offset them, but they wanted to walk all the way down and check it out. And Joe walked away. I was going to make him do it. But he walked away and I was like, okay, okay, sure. Well, why not? I don't want to. You can tell how eager I am not to. Just standing there, I was like, there's a lot. I just told myself there's a lot of light. It shouldn't feel so creepy, right? Little window doors up there. It's creepy. And of course, I have to lead the way. I'm sitting here going, I'm walking in a dead end hallway with all this sunlight, and I am still freaking out like it's a dark basement. Because you just, the energy is sitting there. And again, I didn't want to like just, I had to walk out backwards because I felt like just something was behind me. This energy, this
Mm.
is like a weird narrow doorway,
I,
and it's
I I see
connected up.
assault holes. I saw assault holes in the door.
Assault, like salt from the
A-
ocean, salt,
a-
a
assault
pinch of salt.
assault
Yeah, I was ready.
holes.
I'm getting out of there. I'm just getting out of there. I'm like, okay, I'm done. We did it. Yay, yay me. I When it is uncomfortable, it's hard to go. I want to explore something. This is a very unique structure, but it was so flippin' uncomfortable when the energy is just so, just not even overstaying your welcome. Like you're picking up on the energy vibe. This wall right here is the other side of the hallway that we were just in. And you stand on this hallway, stand over here, nothing. You don't pick up anything. But you go down that dead end hallway where all the porta johns are. Oh man, it didn't smell like funny or awkward. There was no cold chill. It was just a very heavy, unwelcoming, and there was two areas in this fort of just, I'm gonna get out of here. I don't need or want like an invitation. I was just like almost reliving that feeling of just going, I need to get out of here. We reached the end, tag, you're it, let's go. Like, yeah, we're standing on the other side of the wall. Very thick wall, I guess, but look at the ceiling. This reminded me of the ceilings in a lot of cathedrals of the Catholic churches because it's arched and it's um, like a flower and the petals just do that thing. I don't know. But look at the layers. There's layers. That's a peak right there into
Oh my gosh. The right, the left, the middle. This is so
this.
intricate.
Uh,
Why would you build something like this?
in the
This
corner, like it
intricate.
was the chapel next to the bathroom. Sorry, it's fuzzy. It's just I had a different camera a year ago, and it's just overwhelming.
Dad.
This brick structure splays out like the bottom of a flower from the stem, and most church structures with wood and plaster type. This is brick. I'm spitting at this brick. Like this. I'm still just like dumbfounded. Like, this reminds me of like the only way that I could imagine this being done. This call it like sprouting out like a flower. If you've seen Dark City, and you have to get almost to the end of it practically to see the machine that is able to not just move and rearrange the buildings, but make buildings look like they're growing, like a flower. If you ever seen a time lapse of a flower, or most plant structures, like a fern, a flower from the stem just grow. There's a little bit of a spin to it because it's like a golden ratio thing going on. But this is a military fort. This right here, this piece right here, makes no sense as to say why, how the design of these people were underpaid. They didn't know what they were doing, but they were underpaid. And that looked like a rock, that looked like a gator head thing. It's iron oxidized like crazy, but pretty view out of a pretty small window with thick layered bricks, left, right, up, down, east, west, and everything in between.
So JJ Edna Bell made a comment there. And I would have to refer that comment to some of the photography classes that JJ did, along with her dad doing audio video work.
Let me
So,
reach that.
because Edna Bell said you got great pictures and video, and that's
Oh,
just she's always been really good at that because she's kind of been around it her entire life, I guess.
I had the opportunity in the high school I went to. They had a photography class. Eventually, they kind of went back and forth with having a video editing class. It just depends on the staff that wants to stick around and get underpaid for teaching high school students how to record something and then maybe edit it on the old ass equipment that they had. But it was something, and it was really old equipment. But my dad did it for a living for the school district. It's just a school district that had their own setup for kind of teaching. They even had a radio station. You got to play around with that too. So I grew up with a camera in my face because of my dad. Has always been interested in AV equipment, and I have an older brother and sister. They didn't really take to it. I did, but it was just a creative outlet. But even though I'm still overwhelmed looking at the structure, because even it bothers me when I look at my own footage that it's too shaky for me, and I still needed to slow down. And this still took like 3 hours, and we still had other things we had done and wanted to do because we were just so excited to be there. So you have your excitement, your emotions, your curious, your wonderment, and then trying to video photog or take pictures of everything, of just even my creativity level of experience, still amateur, not knowing, again, like I said, not knowing the structure of looking at it in a different aspect of questioning the mainstream narrative stories of everything. Of what am I really looking at? What are we really walking through? That's why I said I tried to I killed the battery on my phone. And then, like, before we even left, um, walking around and getting around this thing, but just being able to play around with whatever camera, digital camera for sure, because you can delete and view things better than the old, 33 millimeter film camera. That was more expensive. Digital cameras were actually like a blessing. And obviously phone cameras, because you can delete stuff and not have to print it and pay for it. So that was like this fun technology to not have to dish out so much money for. But the quality for certain film definitely stands out compared to actual prints, so to speak. But anyways, we went up a set of stairs. It's like spiral stairs, and this is like a top structure of the second floor into the end of the hallway, where apparently it's a storage room, also the creepy part of the hallway that we're on the second floor walking on top of because they were fixing things. But you can see how thick the walls are, is how many bricks, and also the modernized structure of everything. Because this right here looks like a heap or pile of like rubble, but because when you're on the first floor looking up, the ceilings are arched. It's just a lot going on with a few simple materials. It's an understatement. It's like, what the hell is going on? what in the world of brick making structures is going on here? So this makeshift floor tile thing, very awkward to walk on. It is not a solid piece of anything with these, I don't know what to call them, because I almost felt like I was falling through the floor right there. I stood on that because nothing felt stable to actually stand on. But to them, it was all just like a fun house, apparently. They're just taking it in, apparently, when you get to the top and the sun's out and there's no umbrella covering. It's hot. It's flipping hot. I can't imagine building this type of structure in that type of environment. And it's March. January, February, March is the cooler part of the year in February in Florida. And this is, further south of Florida. And they're like, well, maybe the weather was more milder back then.
You know what? I'm going to throw this out there. Something that is kind of known, so to speak, is that the Keys, okay, they generally get hit by tropical storms and hurricanes constantly in one way or another. Like, this is no joke. If you look at the tropics, it always comes from the Atlantic and goes west. And generally speaking, it'll go around, near Cuba in that area where the Keys are. So there's a very, very high percentage chance that there's going to get one or more tropical storms / hurricanes hitting the Keys. And they're trying to say that back then, again, 1850s, that they're building these structures in Jefferson and Taylor at the same time with weather, hurricanes, and all this going on. And 16 million bricks with very little manpower. I'm just going to word it that way because
I wanted to point out that back here is a cruise ship. It's not that far away. It's like maybe a mile as the bird flies, maybe. There is cruise ships are to dock and load and unload and whatever. But that is a cruise ship, and you're sitting or standing on on top of the fort with cannons to blast enemy ships coming in, right? So that's a cruise ship to get a depiction of. But some of those massive ships could be really, really big, according to the East India Trading Company. The movie. We use the movies, referencing because you're questioning everything, but then you're like, were they that big? Were they able to build them that big? Because we can build cruise ships with 24-hour, buffet and water slides. I'm sure they were able to build massive military Navy ships with their own cannons to blast at the land, the fortress coming in at like a mile, maybe not even, maybe a mile, nautical mile, to blast back and forth, just throw balls at each other. Oh my god, just throw balls at each other. Oh my god. I still had to walk on this thing, and it's not comfortable at all. It's hugging the wall to walk on this thing. There's some type of tile, rubber-ish, not really, tile, and they're not securely in place. None whatsoever. I'm just going to try and skim. For your safety, please do not climb on the fort walls. It is not that kind of a fort. But if you can even see like the fort wall underneath this modern crap of making sure it didn't fall apart. Really crappy, this crap right here. But the bricks itself, just Look at that view. I don't see how you could ever get sick of that view. Unless you just were never allowed to go play in it. You know, that's not the beach area. There's a seawall over there. Because, you know, storms smacking into left and right, that erosion would be a huge problem. Flooding would be a huge problem. Oh, I was mentioning when you were talking about the storms, obviously hitting left and right. Last September, we had Hurricane Ian, and I was watching the radar, the news, showing that you had oh my God, Hurricane Ian. The eye of the storm, actually, like Hurricane Ian went over Fort Jefferson. That's the Dry Tortuga fort out in the middle of, you know, nowhere. It went right over it. And I'm like, that's pretty damn strong because it goes centered right over it, going from the south traveling north. It went right over it. So it got the front end of the storm, but generally the back end of the storm is the tail whip. It's the worst part of being in I call it the Caribbeans. Like, this is the Caribbean type environment and weather and shit. So it said the average Civil War cannon range was 3 miles. Now, you saw the cannons with the narrow little itty bitty windows. So you gotta be like straight, right? Unless, again, they're talking about these modernized bad boys down here. The boat guns. Torpedo boat guns. Sure. See how they mix things and they don't really like say too much without saying too much. It's believable. Just don't ask questions. Don't think about it too much. Just look at the pretty pictures, look at the pretty water and the dry grass and the sand, and then go for a swim, and you know, don't think about it too much. She's pretending to be a cannon. I'm not joking. That's what kids do, right? They're like, look at me, I'm a cannon. Just like, you look like you're trying to be a bird. It's all good. Play, interaction, learning, and questioning. So many levels. It's all good. And look at the brick and the thickness of the wall, the height, the this way, the that way. Like Dragon Ball Z or like Power Ranger. Because you're like this way, that way, left, right. I don't care how, like, there's less than 700 people living in Tampa in, what was it, 1750? In like 1850.
Yeah.
Less than 700 people living in Tampa. They needed some bricks maybe to build at least one good structure building when the hurricane came coming. Right? These were like poor, they said these were poor fishing towns compared to just simple folk living off the land. 700 people. So you're telling me that all the people were far, far, far in the north, like Connecticut or New Jersey, and they got on their ship and they traveled down here with all them bricks, and they're like, that's a good vacation destination. Let's set up camp right there.
I got some narrative information here. So, according to, the narrative, on January 18th, 1849, Tampa was officially the village of Tampa. It was home to 185 civilians. or 974 total residents, including military personnel in 1850. But check this out. Key West grew as a maritime, a military, and a county seat community. By 1850, same time frame, there were 2,645, and in 1890 there were 18,000
It would take
residents.
18,000.
So you're telling me that in Tampa there was a whole 185 civilians. That's it.
This is the Coquina Wall.
But in Key West, they're saying there was like 3,000 at the same time frame. So they weren't in Tampa. They were already down in Key West.
They skipped a couple 100 miles and just was
Nice.
like, them islands look very pretty and secured. I'm sure it'll be fine.
I like how they push
Not Miami.
the population narrative to certain areas to kind of, make it look like it's possible. But here's the ironic thing. When we did that Tampa hotel, again, we just pointed out there was only 185 civilians. That's it. Maybe 900 people. And they built that Tampa hotel in what, 2 years, they said? In 1850. In 1850, you're trying to tell me that 500 people built this massive Tampa hotel structure in only 2 years?
No, it had 500 rooms, and every room had electricity, I guess a light bulb in it, and a telephone.
And a phone, yes.
Every room. They said that's their story. Say, Henry B. Plant built this Middle Eastern, it looks like a mosque. It's massive. It took me an hour and a half to walk around it, but I was paying attention to details of this building on the outside alone. That's not even going inside to look at the oohs and ahs of it all. It's just, there's so much detail to that hotel, just looking at the outside of it. The minarets alone, like the materials used. Again, the intricacy design. See this shit right here? This is what we do. This
right.
We modernized. We're like, here is a half a cube. Here is a box.
Okay, so on top, right? On top, we're like, look what we built. Look at this fascinating box-like structure of concrete.
Like,
and underneath it, right? It's all intricate, amazing. But on top, there's a little box.
Not this platform. I believe that this platform.
Oh my God.
That's why they took the third story down, apparently, to put this platform on it for maybe the Cuban Missile Crisis or the event before that.
Well, they brought down the third floor for extra or special weapons or whatever the wording was.
Special weapons platform. This thing is huge. I want to say like 30 feet across or something. But there's no placard to tell you what was actually sitting there and what was going on. Like the placard is down and over across the courtyard. See over there. The placard for what's going on up here is all the way over there to tell you what's going on. And there's the lizards. Like, so much. Oh, this is the close-up of the lizards. But again, I was looking at the arches and everything and didn't know there was 2 lizards there, apparently. Even the lizards are like, oh, you have no idea the stories I could tell you, but we don't speak the same language. Mm-hmm. The side eye he was giving me was, "You're onto something." Oh look, see, military. There
Oh,
we go.
yep. There goes another Black Hawk.
Yeah, we didn't go to the beach yet. We were going to the beach afterwards. So, yep. Mm-hmm. Believable. You can't even fool the lizard people. Nope.
You could definitely feel the military presence down there as well, just so you know.
Not in the fort, though.
No, no,
Not in the
not in
fort.
the fort.
Funny enough, there was negative, heavy energy, unwelcoming in like two areas of it, but everywhere else, no. It looked like horse stables. Over there on the other side, you see, it looks like horse stables. It looked like just this. There's a big question and no answer, like state park. Fanned out spiral staircase. Like this is just with the little breezeway peephole. That's a bigger platform right there for like the spiral staircase. Like I'm walking down backwards, not only for good footage, but because I get dizzy. So like, and it's steep. It's kind of steep. So it was good. I like walk down backwards and get really good footage and videography of the structure of the staircase. But also because especially in that heat, you get dizzy spells sometimes. It's like it's all worked out. There was no creepy vibe under there because some pockets and areas it's just like what's under there? Is it creepy? Is there anything? A storage? Like you have a lot of storage areas, the corners, the nooks and crannies, but the sound effect is just hearing people across the courtyard. This is a round. This is like a cylinder. This whole area is like round cylinder. You saw a photo of it. I'll walk out and turn around and look at it. Thick doorway with the bricks, and it's a cylinder. It's the shape of a cylinder. Like on the inside is more cylinder. On the outside, I'm just like, and then there's an arch. There's that breezeway with the step. I'm pointing with my finger. Point with the mouse. This is a step. They just came down. Like, why so much detail? Why? Is like that none of it makes sense. Like, why so much detail for a staircase, spiral staircase? Luckily, yeah, the spiral staircase, the cylinder. The big guns.
Oh, look, it's more narrative. I
Show
can't
off
wait.
your big guns, honey.
That's.
Look at the different styles of cannons, right? Believable. 1844, 1858, 1861, 1862. So believable. Coconuts. Throwing coconuts at your enemy is more believable than this shit right here. Just like, oh, what were those huge catapults? Coconut catapults is more believable than this shit right here. Yes, that's right. I said it. Coconut catapults. Does anybody know what a catapult is? It's a huge, like, slingshot. If you don't know, there's in some of the medieval, like, King Arthur, probably type. Maybe the movie Troy or something, like, or you just look up, go to YouTube and look up catapult. So interesting, like intricate, like structure. Like this was the room and board for the soldiers, possibly, or the kitchen. That's like a chimney structure over there. This area felt newer. Still, a lot of bricks, really thick walls. It somehow felt newer. I don't know, because they're like trying to keep it from falling apart. Apparently, they designated this the chapel. I call it the chapel. It's a little church area. Like, yeah, lots of believableness here. Look how thick that damn wall is. Even though that's old with the new, like 20-year difference, or I don't know, 100-year difference, it's still falling apart. It's like 2 feet. It was like my forearm, my elbow to my wrist, or my knuckles at least. I was like, and it's throughout the whole structure. If not, like more than 2 feet. Like 4 feet, possibly even up to 10 feet, depending on the kitty corner of constructing some of those ins and outs. My battery on my phone is about to die, so we're getting towards the end of all the footage and stuff, and I was trying to take shorter video clips and let my phone rest at times because I didn't want it to die. I guess the like ventilation system down there, flooding. You just obviously it's Florida. You have flooding, so you need to like let the water flow without hopefully erosion problems.
Water's got to go somewhere.
It will go somewhere.
Mm.
It'll give you all them cracks. It'll go somewhere. Like, yeah, it's arched. The roof, the inside each room. There's, it's curved. It's, I want to say concaved. Oh, life in the barracks. Barracks? Is that how you say it? Where they sleep? Isn't that what it's called? Where they sleep?
Yeah, the
Oh, this is
barracks.
the
Yep.
video display room. A 20-minute video that loops around. And I was like, I'm actually done at this point. I'm so tired. Sally Port. The Sally Port served as the only entrance to the fort. Was accessed by crossing 1,100-foot wooden causeway from the island. All personnel and goods entered and exited the fort through the Sally Port. A moat and drawbridge protected the fort from unauthorized access. So no Lulu Dallas. No. Okay, I just fucked that. I messed it up. If you did not have a Lulu Dallas multi-pass, you could not get through. And I guess that's the doorway over there. That's why the marker of information placard was sitting there. Absolutely interesting, right? Wait, where did I leave off at? Oh, I'm over there. Okay, so now we're outside. This is the part where you cannot access. There is a fence, and you are not no Lulu Dallas multipass. You need a multipass. But that doesn't even look like it matches the rest of it. Kind of like several, parts added to it later. But very interesting looking, and it goes like it's buried, and it looks like it goes underground. Like, I'm sure those aren't just like sniper stations for the 1860s and whatnot. No parking. Such an interesting design. And we barely caught this out of the corner of an eye driving around going, we're just driving around. We're like, what's that over there? This looks like it's part of it. And they don't even like show the, look at that. It's a freaking pyramid. The stick, like, dirt, grass, hill.
Yes, those are like obviously baby pyramids, but a pyramid nonetheless.
None of it makes any sense. None of it makes any sense.
And of course, they're not going to allow you over there to see what's lies beneath.
Yeah. What is it? Hotel California? You can always check in, but you can't leave. What's that line? You can get in, but you can't get out.
Get in, but you ain't checking out.
I can't. So we were able to drive through the parking lot, the closest parking lot we could find, next to the street, and check it out. But there was no parking available because it's personnel parking of sorts or business. But look at that set of stairs. It's like running up the bleachers.
Okay, so to answer that question, Drew Duncan, I do not believe they will allow drones anywhere over there because it's all military.
Yeah.
It is all military kind of run area.
Close to the air base and the Coast Guard and...
they won't allow that stuff.
Aside from Google.
Probably another reason why they get away with so much stuff too, right?
Google has a multi-pass. Look at the thing sticking out of the pipes or something sticking out of and there's this thick ass wall. So much going on over here.
Well, if you think about it, that's the trick, right? Everywhere you kind of really want to go to, they turn it into a federal establishment somehow, be it a military base, federal building. They always find
Country
a way
club.
to say this is our surroundings, and they determine who can and cannot go in, right? So yeah, they have
you
their
shall not pass
ways.
I have to lean forward because it's been a while since even I looked at this, and every time I look at it, I'm just like, oh, just the hill mountains.
The crazy thing is, right, is, us researchers, so to speak,
I don't know why that mixed it
up. The federal government is more like this.
Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you persist?
I know,
right? Well,
just a little bit.
How dare you keep trying to research and learn this stuff?
Yep. So this was like the pulley, I'm going to call it the pulley system for the drawbridge. This is the main entrance. Whoa, that was really fuzzy. Because even with lighting, no matter what, with lighting, if you don't have good lighting, your videography or photography can just really be grainy and suck a lot. But it's better to try and get something than to just be like, fuck it, I'm done. Oh, I think I had to use Video Messenger at one point because my storage was full and my battery was dying, and I could only take 10-second video clips because I needed more storage.
Yeah, that did happen.
And then I had to wait to send it to your phone, babe. Now I remember. I sent it to your phone. I had to wait for it to load before I could take another video clip. So that's also with these little videos at the end being kind of poor quality, and the lighting inside any of the rooms, they reinforced it with steel beams and narrow, tall, wide, tall, narrow, tall. 3 openings. And this was the old original main entryway where the drawbridge over the moat, the causeway. Oh, I think, okay, this has got to be the video where I heard that kid crying. So let me go back and fix the audio share. Let's see if I can hear it again. Where am I doing? Let's see. I gotta fix the volume. Oh, you just barely hear him at the end.
Yeah.
And I think because I was only taking 10-second videos, he sounds happy at first, but then he's not. Because it catches it, or I at least stood there listening to it.
You can hear that.
So aside from the wind, that family with that kid, they're walking out over here. And I'm over by the flag. So yeah, that sound, it didn't catch the part where he was not happy. But that sound is like echoing through the whole thing. And everybody even walking around the whole time. Everybody's usually like at the museum and you're just kind of quiet anyway, so leave it to a little 4-year-old to... He's over here. The camera is facing him, and I'm just doing a pan, a 360 pan, just standing there, and it picks up the sound. Like, I had a hard time still processing it the rest of the day and thinking about it. To this day, like a year later, going, the you know how kids like to play with echoes when you figure out something echoes? It freaking echoes. It's like...
And that's a kid, and it's bouncing, and you can
And he
hear it
wasn't
throughout
even
the
that
entire
loud.
fort. And that's the thing, you can hear it throughout the entire fort, like everywhere. It's bouncing.
I was like, I realized I didn't get the tantrum part of him being upset after he was like just talking to himself as a kid does, and it makes it echoing. And I'm like, shortly after that was the less happier version of it, and it was so much louder. And of course, we have to have reflective plexiglass so that you can't really see what's on display. And all types of cannon blasters. The tiny ones are more believable. Not the short, stubby ones, but that one right there. That's most believable. And we're back to what kinds of materials did we use to build with? I don't know if I zoomed in. Again, this is 10-second messenger clips. This is like the end of whatever I have left. Yeah, the ground wall structure, because this is the entranceway now. Because they rearrange everything all the time. I think there was a swan over there.
Yes, there was. There was a really big freaking swan over there. Oh my goodness.
So this used to be a wall over here because obviously they rearranged where they removed the entranceway. They have to tear shit down. I'm sure that's why. There was kind of like just some shit laying around. And whatever I was doing, the last one, saying we were here, we did it, we were here, it was so exciting. There it is. Ta-da. And that is it.
Whew.
That was still a short version
Yeah.
of walking around Fort Zachary Taylor.
You can't even say that's it because there was, oh my goodness.
I said that was a short version.
Yeah.
It's like, still, a year later, to look back on it and walk through it again, I'm still like, I'm rendered speechless. Still, just need to go back and investigate because you still have new ideas and new, different thoughts, the theories, oh man, just it's like good stuff to think. It's a good brain games, you know. It tires you out in a good way, I guess. I'm like, I don't really know what else to say. I'm just glad we went. I'm definitely glad we went. Never have we been somewhere and say it was a field trip, boots on the ground, and we like wish we didn't go, or even walk down a creepy hallway of sorts.
Yeah. I tell you what, when you get done and leave a place like that, obviously you want to go back, but I tell you, well, when you leave a place like that, you just feel like
Felt very accomplished. The only other thing I could share is let me find a good video of the beach. The beach that is right next to it. I think that one. Is that a video? Okay. Sometimes I can't tell the video to the. That's a good one. I should be able to share that one really quick. The swimming area is just absolutely beautiful. Is an understatement. Breathtaking. I just to see freaking paradise. I think I'll try and share the audio too this time. I'm like, this is just absolutely
the beach is stunning. It really is.
tropical. Freaking tropical.
I'm gonna.
It felt so good, obviously, after walking around for like in the heat for so long. But the view of the water, where is it when I think it's this one.
Oh, yeah.
the video still doesn't capture the awesomeness of just looking at this place, like just looking at it.
Oh yeah.
The turquoise water, it just, wow.
I mean, I just absolutely just stupendous. Is that how you say it? Stupendous. This is absolutely awesome. And there's a little like I want to call it a lagoon. It's not really. It's like half a lagoon, I guess. I don't freaking know.
That almost looks nicer.
Now I will say, I'm just giving you teasers because you got to go there yourself. You got to go there yourself, and you need to just be happy. But caution: when you walk into the water, you cannot see those coquina balls of clumps of just. But you will always stub your toe on them. A little drawback there, and it fucking hurts. I tripped over so many, but by the time you'll get like fine. I'll just swim and it's fine. There wasn't any like sea creature life that was
Mm-mm.
scary to think about because it's so busy with people.
But again, the buoyancy there,
Oh my god, it was
amazing.
so flippin' salty,
Amazing.
and that buoyancy and just
It's almost like you're weightless. You're just
every
kinda
single person needs to, and there was so many different
relax.
people there too from all over different countries. I heard so many different languages just sitting in the beach with like 20 other people around. I swear, all walks of life of different cultures and countries. Everybody's going there. Everybody needs to go there at least once, but stay there, never leave. It's fucking just awesome paradise. That's my
Yeah.
regret, is that we left.
It, yeah, because in all
We
reality,
like cat and a
when you
dog.
get there, everyone's so like polite when you get there too. They're like,
After you. Oh, no, you first. After you. Oh, no, you first.
Yeah, when you're that sweaty and ready to take a dip, like nobody cares. Nobody
nope.
cares. Everybody's there to just enjoy, have a good time. And it is a small beach, and where we were set up with, we just left our stuff in a pile. We didn't spread out because it just sand gets everywhere when you spread out. There was another family that came up, and they had their younger kids and sitting there playing with sand. Like nobody cares. You can get sun from every
Yeah.
angle, and I did get burned. And you can get sun from every angle. There's just everybody just there's no worries. It's just freaking almost euphoric in utopia.
Yeah.
Like everybody's there for the same reason. Everybody's enjoying the same just wonderfulment of this is fucking awesome.
Yeah. It's funny because I think the first time JJ really tried to explain the trip, it was kind of comical. Like,
You do that? Oh, well, and the chop flew, so I lunged, and then the floor slipped, and then, and I just flipped, you know? I guess you just kind of had to be there.
Yes, apparently so.
I still feel that way. So yes, you need to be there.
You kind of have to be
need
there.
to be there. You need to. I wish and hope that everybody could enjoy a place like that. Like just find that kind of a place and have at
Yeah.
it. Set up camp. Don't leave. Grow some coconuts. That sounded weird. Anyways.
Well, let's
That was-
just say we have a terrific outro for everybody. So I hope you stick around for that. It's like 2.5 minutes.
Comical.
But
It's
trust
gonna have
me,
little
it'll be worth actually hanging.
in itself.
It really will. I just.
Yes, that was funny. Thanks for stopping by. This was longer than I intended. I was hoping it would be shorter.
Actually, I have to find it
no
now.
joking. No kidding. I was hoping it would be shorter. This went longer than I intended. But that's all right.
Yes.
I finally got it all out of sharing a little bit, and hopefully maybe expanding on it one day. We can go back or something. So.
Yep. But, yep. Until then, really enjoy this outro, because you will enjoy it. I guarantee it. It's a good one. And we'll catch you on the next one. Have a good night.
Whenever you're ready.
Oh,
I thought you got it queued up better.
It was. StreamYard is weird sometimes. I'm telling you. It really is.
Come on, tech support. Get it rolling. Get it rolling. We're just hanging out. Until it's full.
It did that to me last time.
You're gonna boot him out, and then he'll get it rolling, apparently. Adventure awaits, everybody. Adventure awaits. Where did he completely left the studio? I don't want to say Elvis has left the building, just the studio. Trying to bring up the outro.
Oh my goodness.
There he is.
Sorry about that. Hopefully it'll cooperate now.
I was saying
oh,
that
that's running way better. Okay.
Better?
This will work. Yep, this should work.
Never a dull moment unless I get too tired. And even still.
Yeah.
You ready?
We'll see. It looks like it's...
When we disappear... Although we can just remove ourselves and just disappear in general, so...
You know what? Let's...
It's like sharing a video. What are you doing?
Yes, I know, but it keeps kicking the video out because somebody left the computer on and never turned it off. So I think my poor computer...
Tech support has some little... it has to share its computer more often than it never gets any rest on that. It's a really good video. Hopefully we get to share it. Just play the Jeopardy song in your head. Just do 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 do. Okay. Do do do. I'm not doing it right. It should just be like sharing a video like I was just doing.
Okay, I got it figured out. I'm just gonna share screen it. I think that's the only way it's gonna work.
You had. What were you trying to do? Never mind.
Okay.
Roll it. And hide the thing.
And now I gotta go through all of this. If oh my gosh, hold on. Here we go. Where are you? There you are.
Sending to outer space to find another race. I'm gonna send into outer space to find another race.
Hello, boys! I'm back! Don't ask questions.
And after you. Oh, no, you first.
When you tell somebody something, it depends on what part of the United States you're standing in as to just how dumb you are.
Grandma, you can't just kick me out.
I can too.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
If you were waiting for the opportune moment, that was it.